Everybody sing.
Sing praises to our King, for he is the King of Kings. We sing praises to our King, for he is King.
What's up, YouTube? Hello, Cape. One sec, Cape. What's up, YouTube? Good evening. We're starting right away. But thank you guys for joining. We're live. Ask a Christian anything, whatever question you guys might have, whether it's about the Bible, Christianity, theology, Jesus, whichever question you guys might have, you can ask away, and I will answer to the best of my ability. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Cape, happy Mother's Day to your mom. Just since you're up here, I'll say that. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. To you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, Cape. What's up, man? What's the question you got for today?
The question is, if Jesus is God, how can God die?
Yeah, so I'll actually tell you that I have a new video up on my account where I answer this, but I'll answer it for you as well. Hold on, make sure you can hear me. Yeah, I'll answer it for you as well. We believe God cannot die by nature, because God's nature is he's eternal, so he can't die. It's a contradiction. However, if God takes on a human nature, then God can die in virtue of his human nature, because the nature of humans allow us to have a body and a soul, body and a spirit. And if we have a body and a soul, those can separate and we can thus die. So God, in the person of Christ, took on a human nature, and the person of Christ, he died according to his humanity, his body separating from his spirit. So that's how Christ can die. But God by nature cannot die.
So if God can die, that means Jesus wasn't divine?
Dobry, yes, I read chats. Just if I'm talking to someone, obviously I won't be able to read all the chats at the same time. Sorry, say that again, Cape.
If God is eternal and can't die, then Jesus can't divine, because Jesus died.
Yeah. So again, Jesus dies in accordance with his human nature. You know what I'm saying? So like God by nature cannot die, but God can take on another nature. For example, let me ask you. According to God's nature, does he have hands and feet and stuff? Or is God like immaterial?
Yes. No, he has hands and feet.
So God is composed according to his nature?
What do you mean by composed?
Like, if you're immaterial, that means you are spirit. You're not composed. You're not made of parts. But you're saying that God has hands, has feet, which would be forms or parts. So are you saying God by nature is composed?
I don't know if that's the right word to use.
We don't know how.
I mean,
if I have my hands and I have my feet. I'm a composed person. I'm a composed human. I have parts. So if you're saying that God by nature has hands and feet, then you'd say that God by nature is composed, right? Is that what you're telling me?
Sure.
Okay. Well, then in your view, then God by nature has composition. In our view, God does not have a body by nature. So that would be like an issue. But if that's your view, that's your view. But usually what Muslims say...
So did Jesus not have a body?
Yeah, usually what Muslims say is that God is immaterial. Usually Muslims say this. And then what I would say is that, well, even in your view, God by nature is immaterial, but God has, as it says, Quran says he has hands, he has feet. So even in your view, in your paradigm, God can take on a form and still remain God, right? So in our paradigm, God can take on another nature, human nature, and still remain God according to his divine nature. He has two natures, so that's how it is. You know what I mean? So God's not dying. If that God, in virtue of his human nature, the person of Christ, in virtue of his humanity, dies then. Guys on TikTok also like the live. You might hear some tapping, just like my own live. Get some likes up, y'all. Let's get this going so we can get some people to have good conversations on a nice Sunday evening. Go ahead, Cape.
There's something wrong with your mic.
Go ahead. You were saying?
Oh, it stopped.
You were saying?
Yeah, God having hands and feet, that doesn't degrade his divinity in any way, shape, or form. You said yourself that God is eternal and can't die. At the same time, you say that Jesus is eternal, but Jesus did die.
Again, the reason I said that Jesus is a God and man is because he can die according to his humanity. So in regards to his divinity, he doesn't die. because divinity cannot die. That's not a thing for divine nature. Also, in what you said, if your God is composed by nature, that means he would be composite, which would means he wouldn't be a simple being, which would be an issue. Well, that's not my topic because I'm not deep into that part of philosophy, but it would philosophically be an issue. But I'm not going to go down that route with you because
Why would it be an issue?
yeah, the issue I'll say what I know and then I'll stop there. The issue is usually said that if God is composed, that means he's reliant on these parts, and that would be an issue if God has to rely on parts to be who he is instead of being a simple being. You could search more into that. I'm not the exact person to talk about that because there are philosophers and all that type of stuff. But to what you said, yeah, God by nature is eternal. But if God takes on a human nature, then Christ, being God, can die in accordance to his human nature. Z, I see your comment. I'll pray for you in a little bit. Let me just get with this guest. Like Cape, I'll give you an analogy maybe to help you. You as a human, your body and soul, right?
Yeah.
According to your body, are you, material?
Is my body material?
Yeah, your body is material, right?
Yeah.
And your soul is immaterial, right?
Yes.
So in one respect, you are immaterial, and in another respect, you are material. Then, right?
Yes.
All right, beautiful. So, similar to that, Jesus, the person of Christ, has two natures. So, according to one nature, he's eternal. He's immortal according to one nature, and according to another nature, he is mortal. He is the term would be, I think, passable, meaning he can be affected. He can die and all these things. So he has two different natures in his person. So he can die in accordance with his human nature while still being eternal, forever existing, forever being God, in accordance with his divinity.
So Jesus' body wasn't divine.
His body was flesh. His body was human. Yeah, his body.
So it wasn't divine.
No, his body wasn't. His body now is glorified, but his body when he was on earth was not divine, because divinity doesn't entail having a body. But the person who possessed the body was divine. Once at Cape, I have a brother on the stage. He said he can speak a little bit more to that composition point I was making. So Rohan, if you want, you can go ahead.
Hey, God bless.
God bless.
Cape, you're Muslim?
Yes.
Okay. The being composed is an issue because, let me give you an example. You follow Tawheed, right?
Cape, just unmute when you're speaking. There's some noise in your background, so
Okay.
Cape, you can unmute.
What did you say?
You follow Tawheed?
Tawheed.
Tawheed, yeah. So
Are
pretty
you
much,
trying to say Tawheed?
yeah, Tawheed, sorry.
Yes.
So pretty much, if I ask you the question, the attributes of Allah, is that Allah or is it separate from Him?
The answer to that question.
Say again?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. So most Muslims would tell me that the attributes of Allah are not Him, but they are separate from Him, distinct from Him. But then if I were to take one of these attributes away from Him, right? For example, mercy. If I take the attribute of Him being all merciful away from Him, He's no longer considered Allah, right? Then you go down the line of who was Allah merciful to before creation? Right, that also runs into a different problem because if Allah didn't always possess the attribute of being all merciful before creation, that means these parts are, you could say, accidental properties, which then come into existence after the fact. So you would have a property of Allah or an attribute of Allah that's come into existence, which then makes Him up to be God, quote on to say.
Can you simplify, or can you say it in one sentence, or say it with brevity?
Yeah, so who was Allah merciful to before creation?
Before the universe began.
Yeah, before any sort of creation.
Before any sort of creation,
Yeah.
I don't know, the angels, the jinns.
Well, jinns and angels are created in your paradigm.
I don't know who he was merciful to.
Yeah. So then he would only be merciful when creation came about. Would you agree with that?
No, I know.
So then who would he be merciful to prior to creation?
I don't think you. I'm not sure if you have to be merciful to someone.
Well, you would say mercy is an outward expression, right? To show mercy upon someone or to something.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So if Allah wasn't all merciful prior to creation, that means the title of him being all merciful came into existence when creation came about. So Allah being Allah, he only became all merciful when the creation was created. So this attribute of him became a part of him, and without creation, he wouldn't be all merciful.
Why can't you be all merciful without creation?
That's the question that's posed on Islam, right? So Allah has these 99 attributes, right? 83 are found in the Quran, the rest in the Hadith.
No, but for me,
Yeah.
I can still have mercy in my heart, in my. It can be a part of me, but it's not that you have to be merciful towards somebody.
Well, even if you say if it was a non-active attribute of him, the act of being merciful to something has to be upon something else. So Allah cannot be merciful to himself, right? He has to express it towards something, and the only thing he could the only thing he can present it to is creation, because being merciful to yourself is
y'all on
nonsensical
YouTube?
in a matter
What's up, y'all
of
on YouTube?
speaking,
I can
right?
see y'all
No, but you
comments.
can just be
So
passively
God bless you,
merciful.
Kira. God bless you, King of King. God
But
bless
again,
you, Johnny. God bless all
being
y'all
merciful
on
is an
YouTube.
outward expression. I can only be
Why?
merciful to something, because you can only be merciful to something. You cannot be merciful without something to be merciful.
Can you be
to.
humble towards something?
Without?
Can you be
What do you
wise
mean?
towards something?
Be wise towards something?
Yeah, that's also one of Allah's attributes.
Yeah,
Did he have? Did he
That's
have
one
to
of
have?
his
Did he
attributes.
have
No,
to have a creation to be all wise?
but no. This is the problem, right? Out of the 99 names, there are some attributes of him that only can exist with creation, right? The wise part, I can agree with you. The humble part, I can agree with you. That's no issue. But I'm saying there are some attributes that compose your God for him only to be God with creation. So there's a dependency. So he can only have the word expression of being all merciful, right? To something, to creation. So prior to creation, he was not all merciful. But when he started creating, when he said kum fayakum, right? He then became merciful to something. So the property and that title, that attribute of Allah, only became true when creation came about. So there's
Can you tell me
parts,
briefly why you have to have creation to be merciful?
because it's an outward expression, right? For me to show love, right, I need to outwardly with my actions present love. I cannot, like Cape, if I say to you right now, I love you, would you believe me?
No.
Exactly. And if we became close, or if I, jumped in front of a car and saved your life type of thing, these are things that I have to do outwardly to express certain characteristics, right?
No, I still don't get it, because you can have attributes that can be a part of your essence without need a creation. I don't understand why you need a creation, or you have to show
That's
it.
the thing. An outward expression, is mercy an outward or inward expression?
I think that's a false paradigm.
So Cape, are you at least getting? Oh, sorry, Ben. Cape is Muslim. Cape, are you sort of getting what he's saying? I don't want to stay on this too long, because I have other guests.
No, I'm not getting what
Are
he's saying. I don't
you getting what
understand
he's saying?
why you need to have a creation to be merciful.
Okay, Rohan, just give a simple argument for the composition part, since that's your topic. Oh, Kira, this is you, Maju.
Sure.
Just give a simple argument for the composition part, and then if you get to the nod, I'll move on.
Yeah. So do the 99 names of Allah, do they always have to be true for Allah to be Allah?
Yes.
So if I take away one of these names of Allah, is he no longer Allah?
Sure.
So then these properties, these attributes are necessary for your God to be God.
Yes.
And without one said God, or without one said attribute, he wouldn't be God anymore, right?
Yes.
So if I can prove that one set of these attributes only came into existence because of creation, would that negate the fact that if this God of yours is so-called eternal, right? If one of these attributes are then attributed to him when creation and only when creation came into about, that would disqualify your God for being God, right?
Yes.
Okay. So God, would you say your God is all loving?
I don't know if that's if specifically is an attribute.
So can you
Yeah.
tell me how old is it? Is this crossed God
Sorry,
of yours?
Mess Estonica. Are you Muslim, Christian? Do you have questions? I will let you up if you have questions.
No, this is that I can ask any question.
Yeah, so Mess Estonica, just wait your turn. Not yet, okay? He's just finishing up with this guest.
Why
Yeah, so once
doesn't God allow?
Mess, I'm gonna mute you. Just wait your turn and then I'll get to your question, okay? Rohan, continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah. What did you find it, Kate?
Let me Google it.
And also, Cape, if you don't understand it in English, I can say it to you in French if that would help you better.
Hey Rohan,
Yes, yes,
man,
yes.
I
It's
gave you a
Rohan.
follow real quick, man. I gave you a follow, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
for
I
this.
got you. Yeah. What'd you say, Cape?
Yes, yes. All loving is one of his attributes. Or most loving.
So, the most loving, right? Would you agree that the greatest form of love is a sacrificial love or an outward expression of love? That you can only express love outwardly with actions?
I don't know why does it have to be a
Outward
sacrifice?
expression? No. I no, like sacrificial love is the highest form of love, but I'm saying that the expression of love can only be output, not input. Like I can only show love. I can't love like myself in a sense, right? The same
I mean, you
example
could.
the same example, if I told you I loved you right now, you wouldn't believe me because there was nothing to prove for it, right? I cannot show you love, right? It's not empirical, right? I have to demonstrate it, right? So if Allah is all loving, when creation hasn't, like if creation wasn't created, right? If nothing came into about and Allah is just there in the universe, floating around, nothing is created yet. What is he showing love to?
It's a part of his essence.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, the
Nothing.
attributes are not part of
There's nothing to show love to.
the attributes are not part of his essence, right? Because you cannot say Allah is only these said attributes, right? There's a distinction or separation between the attributes and your God.
Yeah, say it again.
There's a distinction between your God and his attributes.
Why?
That's how it works in Islam.
All right, Cape. I think your time's kind of done there, buddy. I think you're just.
I don't think he's understanding.
I think he's trying to understand. But Ron, thank you, man, for that. If you want to stay up, I'll let you up. I'll let you stay if you have time. But thanks for that, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. All right, Ben, what's up, man? Did you come for questions?
Yeah, I had a question regarding the Judeo-Christian kind of God. I didn't know if we were talking about Muslims or whatever.
Any question is ask a Christian anything, night. So any question, what's up?
Oh yeah. So my question is that God is omniscient, right?
Yeah.
And then we also have the ability of free will.
Mm-hmm.
On the supposed thought that like I'm not saying foreknowledge equals, causation or anything.
Mm-hmm.
but foreknowledge plus initiation does equal causation. For example, when God creates our timeline, he can know in any instance what's bound to happen because he is omniscient. So if he knows what's bound to happen, let's say if I were to decide between A and B and I choose A, and he knew that, in what other sense could I have used my free will to choose B?
I mean, that's a deeper question, but free will, all it entails is that you have the right to choose what you want to do, right? Like you have a right to freely choose. So as you said already, omniscience doesn't equate, or God knowing the future, God knowing all true propositions, or God knowing the future, doesn't equate to you having.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'm just saying you even as admitting there that God knowing the future, knowing all true propositions, doesn't necessarily mean that our future is locked, our choices are locked in place. Well, even with that, time is just a measurement of change itself. So if God knows the choices we can make, and if God knows what the results of said action will be, like for example in the book of Samuel, I think it's 1 Samuel chapter 21 or 1 Samuel chapter 21, somewhere there, God tells David what will happen if he goes this route, and David ends up not going that route. So God knows all true propositions. God knows all possibilities. So it's not that omniscience would remove your freedom to choose. It will just be that God just knows the choices you can make, knows the choices that are available for you to make, because God knows all the true propositions, God knows all the choices, God knows the future. So I wouldn't say that God initiates your choice, because you have the freedom to choose, but God does know the choices that you can make. So he knows it, just like, I'll just give a regular analogy, just like I know what will happen in a movie, but I'm not actively initiating or deciding what the actors will do. You know what I mean? So I can know something in advance.
So I mean, that's actually a great point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess my question would be like, he's knowing all these possibilities per se, but then to talk about the analogy on the movie that you talk about, yes, you're watching a movie and you don't know what's going to happen, but in an actual sense, the movie is created. Like what's going to happen is going to happen.
You're 100% right. And
so then it's not necessarily like, you're like God knows all these possibilities. I don't mean to cut you. I'm trying to say like
I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. Here, you can talk.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but you are 100% right. Like in the movie, if you push the analogy that far, then yes, in the movie everything's scripted. So it's a script. So the directors know what's going to happen, or I know what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is that if we just look at the analogy I brought in like that sense, I'm not trying to push it further than that. I'm using it for a specific reason.
Okay,
so
yeah.
In that sense of the analogy I'm using, it's like me as the movie watcher. I'm not talking about the director. Obviously, the director has a script. He wrote the script. But I'm talking about me as the one who watches the movie. I might know what happens at the end. Like for example, everyone. If I watch Infinity War today, I already know that at the end Thanos snaps his fingers and half of the universe population is gone. But I can still watch the movie and have no effect on what any of the actors, what any of the characters, Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, Hulk, I have no effect on what any of the characters do, even though I know the end. So with your analogy, God knows all possibilities. God knows all true propositions, but he doesn't actively.
Well, I guess in that sense, but you would know what's going to happen. Like you would know what the movie characters are going to do. So then, okay. I mean, I don't really want to argue on that analogy because that would get really analytical and deep. But
we don't have to argue.
I guess my question would then be.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you were saying. That made sense. But
go ahead. You said your question was going to be.
Yeah. So my question now would be like, God's taking all these possibilities. He knows all of them, and he knows what's going to happen. So if I were to just say right now, like I'm about to go to sleep, and then tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to be hungry. And when I get hungry, I'm probably going to eat a bowl of cereal because that's what I always do. And when I wake up, God's going to know what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do that. So I guess my whole question is that with this free will that I have, is it not me just actually doing what God knows is happening, or am I choosing it? But yes, I am choosing it, but God knew I was going to do that. So in that sense of me choosing it, I'm choosing it because he knew that kind of.
Rohan, you said you were about to speak. Do you wanna answer that? It seems you were about to say something.
Oh, well, in the aspect of free will, God is the first cause of all things, and then we have our secondary cause. With our secondary cause, we can go against the first cause. God will always know the secondary cause of what we hold to, which is what you said, option A and B. But the first cause is always there by God's decree, God's will. Like, for example, sin, right? A lot of people get this confused, especially when I say God is the first cause of all things. God produces everything that is good, nothing evil, right? Because that's in his nature. The act of sin is the misuse of your free will. That's why you can sin as a person. That would be your secondary cause.
So sin is like the moral basis for good and bad, right?
Sin is not the moral basis, or the moral standard is God, because he's all good, pure.
Okay.
Nothing. There's no blemish in him.
So good and bad has just always been a thing then because of him.
Good and bad. No, bad came into existence because of the misuse of your free will, right?
So
if you
yeah,
go,
so then good, and then so good it always existed, and then bad existed once sin was created.
Because of your secondary cause, yeah. So like, for example, when Lucifer received envy in his heart and pride, that's when bad came about, and that's how, he fell down from the heavens. He got kicked out of heaven.
So I like that. I'm not trying to get off topic of what me and the host were talking about, but what you just said specifically, that sin being brought down is the basis for bad, then my thought has always been like, well, then now that's for humans, but then if I were to take a shark, for example, a shark has existed almost millions of years before humans. So let's say when a shark kills a baby whale for it to eat.
You have to say.
I'm sorry. When a shark unalives a baby whale for it to be able to eat, and that would be bad, right? But then it's like,
well, no, according to animals,
we wouldn't call that bad. We would just call it a predator. Instinct for it to have to do that.
That's within moral guidance.
Yeah, so that's what stems me to think that, okay, when humans evolved and we developed consciousness and we realized this idea of suffering, of another being dying, as in like the whale being unalived, we see that as bad. So I agree with what you're saying, but I just feel like the basis for evil and kind of like what's really suffering goes beyond of when supposedly God brought it down.
It wasn't God, it was misuse of free will.
I guess my idea of what it is when suffering is prominent, and suffering has been prominent way before God brought down sin.
I don't mean to cut your conversation short. It's good, but Ben, I do have some other guests, so maybe make your last point, and then Rohan asks again, and then Rohan answer that, and then we'll move on to Naf because he was after you.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. I guess, my question would just be, I just see a lot of contradictions with the supposed idea of, I guess, God being the basis for a lot of things, as in the objectivity, or the moral objectivity of what I just mentioned, and then what I first brought up with free will, that's just my whole problem. I just see a lot of contradictions in it, that's it.
Can you give an example?
Did I not give examples in the beginning of when I talked about it? His omniscience and him being omniscient and us having free will?
No, I explained that. That's the first cause, secondary cause thing.
Well, if the idea of a first cause, then it's that, okay, then God can look at that first cause and then know what you're going to do, and then go back and God's omniscient. He's going to know what you're going to do. So
the first cause is God's decree, right? The secondary cause is our free will. We can go against God's decree, which would be the misuse of free will, and God would know.
Does God know we're going to go against the misuse of us using our free will?
When you sin, correct.
And so if he knows that, then could we do differently?
Well, no, that's the thing. If he were to control your secondary cause, we would just be robots.
Yeah, right? See, I'm not saying that's the whole thing. I never try to say foreknowledge equals causation and control. I'm just saying foreknowledge plus the initiation of something equals a certain outcome, and him knowing that outcome results in that outcome only being able to happen.
The initiation is caused by the agent, right?
But he knows that, I guess.
Yeah, so the agent would be the one in error, going against the, decree of God, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can choose whether what you want to do. But again, if God knew that you're gonna, go unalive a cat or something and stopped you from it, then there would be no free will or free choice.
No, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
say that he's stopping you from doing it, but I'm just saying, could you have done otherwise than not unalive the cat, since he knew you were going to?
Then
and if you couldn't,
wouldn't-
then you don't have free will.
Yeah, you wouldn't
know?
have free will, free choice. Yeah.
Well,
So then, yeah, that's just my whole
well,
problem.
well,
Then
Ben-
what is
Ben-
free will
Ben-
if he knows what's going to happen to sexuality?
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, God knows all the possibilities. So you still have the possibility to do those things. He knows all these possibilities. He knows all these things, right? So again, it's not that you're.
He just doesn't know the outcome of which.
So Ben, he knows the outcomes. He knows the possibilities because he's God. He has that infinite mind. So he can know all these things. So you still have the ability to initiate, to do what you're doing. And he knows what you will choose X, Y, and Z. Like I said, it's 1 Samuel 23. You can read it if you want. David acts as the Lord. If he goes down to, I think it was, let me read it. Let me grab it real quick. If he goes down to Keilah, will the people hand him over to Saul? And God says, yes, they would. So God knew the possibility that if he did X, this would happen. So David did not do it. And God knew David would take that path. So God knew all the possibilities, and God knew the possibility that David didn't do it, and David didn't do it.
Could David not have done that path then, since God knew it?
He could have, but he would have faced the punishment. Yeah.
There you go.
But then if God knew what would have happened, then could God have not have done that? I just feel like it loops kind of.
No,
like,
it was
can you really do differently than what God is thinking?
It was strictly a warning.
Yeah, Ben.
Right.
Ben, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna respectfully move on now.
No, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. I would say if you wanted more in-depth answers, Rohan gave you a pretty in-depth answer. But if you want more in-depth answers, I could direct you to another Christian content creator. His name is there's two of them. I'll give you Elijah Johnson. You might know him. He goes live Tuesdays, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I believe, as well. He is also very knowledgeable in the writings of patristics and philosophical terms and language and stuff. So you can go and join his live streams. He's live usually 7:30 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you could ask him those questions. Also, there's another Christian content creator named Inspiring Philosophy. He goes live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and you could ask him those questions as well. But I think we gave you a pretty good, at least somewhere to start. If you don't understand it too well, I can't force you to understand, but I hope we at least gave you something to start with, and then you could look further, all right?
Yeah, I hope the same for you as well, and for anybody else in here.
All right. Thank you, man, for joining. God bless. All right, Naf. Sorry that took a while, and Be Easy will get to you after Naf. Naf, what's up, man? Do you have a question? And also, Meno, while Naf is coming, Jesus can see himself because when it says no one has ever seen God, it's in reference to the Father. Jesus is the one who reveals God the Father. So no one has ever seen God the Father, but Jesus is the one who has made him known to us because Jesus is the one who explains the Father to us. That's John 1:18 that you're quoting, and it literally says, but the only begotten God, or the only begotten Son, who's in the bosom of the Father, he has made him known. So the God we're talking about, no one has seen God, is in reference to the person of the Father. Now, what's up, man? Happy Mother's Day, by the way, to everyone watching. Happy Mother's Day. God bless your mothers.
Same to you.
God bless.
God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Naf, what's
How
the
are you
question?
doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. What's your
Yeah,
question,
my
brother?
question is, my question is, if Jesus is God, then who did he pray to?
He prayed to his Father, because you can be one in nature with someone and still be distinct as a person to someone. So when Jesus prays to God,
He prayed.
I'll answer you. When Jesus prays to God,
Okay,
he's praying to his
okay.
Father, but he's just a distinct person from the Father while still being the same in nature with his Father.
Okay, what are they discussing about with the Father if they are one? To control the universe. Two people, the Father and Jesus.
It's relaying a message, communication.
Huh?
It's relaying,
Who are they?
relaying
The
a
two of
message.
them.
Yeah,
The two of them.
relaying a message. It's
Relaying a
communication.
message together. So that means Jesus is not the only one. That means there is God, there is Jesus.
There's not God, there's Jesus. No, there's the Father and then
So
there's Jesus.
if he's three in one, then the Holy Spirit is there,
Okay.
the Father is there,
Yeah, yeah, nah,
and Jesus is there,
yeah, nah.
right?
I don't mean to cut you off, sir, but
And
I'll just, nah, nah. If I
the
don't
whole
mean, nah,
three of them
sorry,
are
sorry,
connected.
sorry, sir. One sec. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll just give you a little rundown of what we believe. As Christians, we believe in one God who
Okay,
eternally exists as free eternal
okay,
persons, or subsist as free persons. So you have the Father, you have the Son, and the Holy Spirit, as
okay,
Rohan told you. So these three persons honor each other, they love each other, they glorify each other, and they have personhood, they have personhood, they have rationality, so they can communicate. They have these things. So we have these three persons. So when Jesus prays to his Father, the Father can be called God because the Father has divinity. Similarly, I'll give you the simile to how Adam and Eve are both called Adam, according to Genesis 5 and verse 3 or 5 and verse 2, and yet they're distinct persons. So you can be one in a certain sense, and the persons of the Trinity specifically being one in nature, one as God, and still be distinct persons and communicate with each other. And Jesus and his Father communicated while Jesus was on earth and God and his Father was in heaven, because Jesus had that constant line with his Father to strengthen him, to support him while he was doing his hard mission to save and carry the weight of the humanity on his back while he was on earth. So does that kind of help you understand a little bit?
okay. I understand from your own perception of what you're saying, but okay, still on what you said. If you said you believe as a Christian there is one creator of the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that one creator is Jesus Christ, right?
Well, Yahweh.
And he
Jesus
have connection with his Father. He has connection with his Father. He has connection with the Holy Spirit, and all of them are one.
Sure.
So logically, now you are telling me three people are one.
Yeah.
But when Jesus was asked, he said, is he all knowing? Is Jesus all knowing?
Yes.
He doesn't know the hour.
He does know the hour.
He does know the hour.
He doesn't know the hour.
Yes, he
He
does.
does.
If he's all knowing as the Father,
Nah, come on, man. He knows the hour enough. Right, come on,
yeah,
now. He knows
if
the hour.
he's all knowing as the Father
Yeah.
and the Holy Spirit,
Nah,
while they are
wait,
one,
pause.
he should have known the hour too.
Just pause. Do you believe in the Bible, Naf?
You said?
Do you believe in the Bible? Naf, do you believe in the Bible? I just want to know what paradigm you're coming from. Do you are you Christian? Do you believe in the Bible? What, like, are you Muslim? What are you?
You said?
What do you believe in?
Hello?
Do you believe in the
I'm a
Bible?
Muslim. I'm a Muslim.
Okay, so
And I believe-
okay, I got you.
I
I got
believe-
you. I just needed to hear what you are, so I'm gonna meet you. Since you're a Muslim and you're asking a question about my Bible, the Bible says in John chapter 16, verse 30 and 31, the disciples said, "Look, now you're speaking plainly and not using any figurative language. Now we know that you know everything, and have no need." Sorry, let me read it. Let me pull it up. And have no need for anyone to question you. By this we believe that you came from God. And in verse 31 of John 16, Jesus says, "Do you now believe?" So Jesus affirms his disciples, saying he knows everything. So if you're critiquing our paradigm, then within our paradigm, Jesus has said himself by his own admission that he knows everything. So when Jesus says he does not know the hour, the word used for know in Greek is oiden, which can mean to reveal, to declare, to tell. And is used in that, used semantically that way by Paul even in 1 Corinthians chapter 2. And even in the context of what Jesus says in Matthew 24 and Mark 12, he says his return will be like a master going away and his servants don't know. So if the servants don't know, but the master knows when he's coming back, Jesus is the one coming back. So Jesus would be the master who knows when he's coming back cognitively, but his servants, you and me, Christians who are waiting on the return of our Lord and Savior, we don't know when he's coming back. So in that case, Jesus would be the master and he would thus cognitively know the hour. So in context even, know there cannot mean cognitive, but must mean declarative, that he is the one, not the one who's going to declare the hour, but is going to be the one, but it's his for his Father, it's for the person of the Father to make it known when his son will come and judge in context the Jewish nation. Does that at least help you? Naf, I'm gonna move on to the next guest because I can't really stay on, one person too long. But does that at least give you a kind of understanding? If you have more questions, you can join tomorrow. Tomorrow will be more like debate style, but tonight is like question and answer style. Does that help you a little bit? He left. Okay. Now if you want to like come and actually have a longer debate or informal debate or whatever, I'm live tomorrow night at 7:30, and those are more like Fridays and Mondays are more like debate, informal, whatever. Sunday nights is kind of a Q&A, so it's more calm, it's more chill. I ain't trying to get too rowdy, I ain't trying to go too long. All right, be easy. What's going on? Happy Mother's Day to you. I mean to your mom. Hello, be easy.
Oh, yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. What's up?
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to me.
Happy Mother's Day to your mom. That's what that's what I said. I said Happy Mother's Day to your mom.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to
well.
all people watching. Yeah, man. Before I let you ask your question, I was on your live one time and you kicked me off. Like, quick, what happened there? You remember?
I kicked you out. Nah, I don't kick people out. My mods probably kicked you off. Then.
Was it one of your mods? Okay, that's fine. So what's up, man? What's the question you got from me today?
So, look, if you've been to one of my lives before, then you know I'm assuming that you're you're in the field of anticipating what question I'm about to ask.
I only know like some of the topics you run, like the Gospels or whatever. I don't know what you can ask whatever question. It's up to you. I'm not debating it.
Oh, okay. That's
question and answer. Go
ahead. That's cool. I'm about to. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So yeah. What makes you think that Jesus was a real person and not just a character in a literary oppressive myth?
Yeah, the Gospels are written, and really all the writings of the New Testament, they're written as historical documents documenting like historical events. So when we read the Gospels, we are led to understand that we are reading historical documents highlighting events that happened within Israel in the first century through about the lifetime of the Lord Jesus Christ. Like, for example, even in the book of Luke, one of the Gospels, the writer, he says this in his opening. I'll just read it for you real quick. This is Luke chapter 1 for anyone watching. I'm going to read about from verse 1
I'm writing
to
to Theophilus.
Right. So he says here in Luke 1.
I'm writing to Theophilus.
Yeah, he says, many have undertaken to compile a narrative about the events that have been fulfilled among us, just as the original eyewitnesses and servants of the word handed them down to us. So it also seemed good to me, since I have carefully investigated everything from the very first, to write to you in an orderly sequence, most honorable Theophilus, so that you may know the certainty of the things about which you have been instructed. So even one of the gospel writers, Luke, he makes note that he's writing this as a narrative of events. So when we read the Gospels, we're not reading like literary fiction, like other books will be classified, like Spider-Man classified as fiction. We're reading historical documents that contain historical events, like, for example, the person of Christ Jesus being a real person. And we also have extra biblical sources that attest to Jesus Christ being a real person as well.
Okay, great. So before we get to the extra, documents, so your evidence is the Gospels. All right. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right. So the Gospels were written anonymously. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John those names wasn't attributed to those books until 180 and Against Heresies by Irenaeus. So according to the story of the Bible, Mark and Luke never met Jesus at all. So that leaves us with Matthew and John, who, according to the story, were disciples. Now, could you tell me how could you attribute authorship to Matthew or John when they were written anonymously? Those names weren't given to them until 180, and all throughout both books, it's written in third person omniscient. Nowhere is it written in first person. That will allow the reader to conclude that they were a participant in the story that, quote unquote, they're writing.
Thanks for the question. Oh,
for
Rohan, I was just about to say if you
yeah,
wanna
I'll just give
answer.
you a point. No, I'll just give you a point. You can read it.
One sec, Rohan. I was just about to say if you
Oh yeah, go for
since
it.
you're my guest, if you wanna answer, you can just cut me off and go right ahead. So you cut me off, so go ahead. No problem.
No, I'll just give you a point and then you can present it. Book of Revelation, chapter 1. That's about John. He literally says, "I, John,"
Different
revealing
John.
the story.
Different John. Not the same John.
What do you mean, different John?
The book of Revelation is not attributed to the same John that was supposedly the disciple of Jesus.
You get that information from...
I'm sorry?
I said, you get that information from what?
Yeah. That the book of Revelation is not attributed to John. Literally any Christian or atheist scholarship on any of the Bible, like it's literally everywhere. So it's different John, not the same John.
What do you mean?
So we're talking about John or Matthew of the Gospels.
So you think John of Revelation is a different John from the Gospel?
Yeah, I don't think it is. You know, that's everywhere.
Okay,
Even we're talking about John, the Gospel, in the we're talking about the book of John.
So, but like what I'm asking is, what makes you determine that it's two different Johns? Like, what study have you read, or what traditions that you've seen, like within or outside of Christianity, that point to two different Johns? Because at the start of Revelation, it says the revelations of Jesus Christ, which God gave to show his servant that things must soon to take place. And then he literally says, "I, John, testimony, da 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 da," so on and so forth.
Literally in Revelation, the author describes himself as John, who is a prophet who was exiled to the island of Patmos in the book. So literally, not the same John.
So Rohan, sorry to cut you off. I do want to address his first point he made there on the Gospels. Yeah. Be easy. Firstly, you said that Mark and Luke did not meet Jesus. Luke, I can grant that because I don't think the text explicitly says that, but it's usually a tradition held that Mark was the young man in Mark chapter 14. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily true. It is a tradition. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. I'm just saying that there could be evidence that Mark would have met Jesus if he's that young man. But regardless, you also said that these four Gospels are anonymous, that they weren't traditionally attributed to the authors they're given to until 180, you said. And those were the points you're making. So how can I tell you that these are the authors and that these people would have known Jesus? But there are many books within antiquity. I think this was the point I was making even when I was on your live stream. I think you brought up this argument. There are many writings of antiquity that do not have authors like traditionally attributed in the same way we attribute authors to writings today. Like, for example, I have in my closet, I have some books. Diary of Wimpy Kid, for example. We know that book is written by Jeff Kinley, I think his name is, Kidney or whatever his name is. That book is actually titled the Diary of Wimpy Kid, written by Jeff X da da da. In ancient history, we have writings of antiquity that do not have traditional authors, but historians still put authorship to them because there's external attestation which gives credence to these books being written by who they said they are. For example, there's a writing of antiquity called The Commentaries of the Gallic Wars. It's attributed to Julius Caesar. However, within that book itself, within the book, Julius Caesar never says that he wrote this book. So even with the Gospels, they are internally anonymous, yes, that there's no author stated internally, but external attestation gives evidence to the authorship. And it should also be understood that within the early years of the church tradition, it was unanimously attested to that these Gospels were written by the four authors. There wasn't much contention against that. It was unanimously attested that these four Gospels were written by their authors. So the external attestation we have actually gives evidence to these being the authors of the Gospels, and we have no reason to go against that attestation. So I would say the external attestation we have gives good evidence for these gospels being written by the traditional authors of Matthew, the tax collector who followed Jesus, Mark, the disciple of Peter, who translated for Peter, Luke, the disciple of Paul, who was also a disciple of Jesus, and John, the disciple, the beloved disciple, as he calls himself, the disciple of Jesus. So external attestation would be good evidence for it. Go ahead.
All right. So no, there's not any early books in antiquity that was written without authorship attributed to them. There were some, written in third person, but every time the author was clearly identified so that the reader would know who's writing this text. Like, commentators on the Gallic Wars by Julius Caesar. Like Julius Caesar literally wrote like the first 7 books in that, and he wrote in first person. So that wasn't a good one to bring up.
Did he say his name?
Again,
did he say his name in that? I'm just asking. In the books he wrote, did he say his name? Like, could you bring that evidence?
The author, yes, the author is attributed. The author Julius Caesar. The author is written, and he referred to himself in first person, and the first 7 books of it.
Did he refer to himself as Julius Caesar?
So he used first person pronouns, I, we.
No,
our, things like that.
I don't mean to cut you off, but on the point you just made, I'm asking like a specific question. Did he mention his name, like Julius Caesar?
I just want, yes, as the author.
Okay, so show me then, since you're bringing that claim. Show me in this
I just really want. I really don't care. Like we're talking about we're talking about the Gospels. So again,
I'm gonna meet you for a second. The reason I'm cutting you off here is because I'm not gonna let you just leave this point of antiquity, because the point I'm bringing is that internal attestation to an authorship does not necessitate. The internal attestation does not necessitate that a document is anonymous. So since I brought up Gallic Wars, you're saying it has an internal attestation to the author being Julius Caesar. So I want you to bring that source and where it cites his name. If you bring that, I'll be cool with that. I just want you to give evidence to your claim there. What's that source that says that his name is within it? What page?
Anonymous writings. That does mean that the author is not attributed. If the author is not told, and all throughout the writing is written in third person omniscient. So nowhere in the writing is it written in first person. So how is that not anonymous authorship? In the books of Matthew, and John, I'm limiting it to them because they would have been, eyewitness of Jesus. In the books, all throughout the books, the writer is talking about events where they weren't even there. So how would they know? For example, like when Jesus went to the wilderness and was talking with the devil for 40 days and stuff. And then right after that, he was arrested, by Pontius Pilate and them. They went to the temple, and then the little naked boy ran out. Pontius Pilate ordered everybody out of the room and had a private conversation with Jesus, but somehow we have all of the details of the conversation and all of the details of the conversation that he had with the devil, etc. How would they know that if they weren't there? Yeah. That's a common trope that an author of fictional text, when they're aware of all of the events and all of the thoughts and feelings and everything of the characters included, would use.
Yeah, so it's similar to how even in modern day. Yeah, it's similar to how even in modern day we have biographies. Similar to how in modern day we have biographies written about people in third person, and the author of the biography knows all this information about the individual without ever being a part of their life. For example, the biographies about LeBron James, the writers were not a part of their life, but because LeBron gave them information, they searched up information that was written elsewhere. They gathered the evidence they need to give a detailed biography of LeBron's life, and they wrote it in third person, and it still has an author. Now, in modern literature, it has authors named. But even back in ancient antiquity, I'm going to keep repeating this point, there are many cases where literature did not have an author named internally. External attestation would be what was used to put an author to these books. And in the case of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and let's focus on Matthew since you focus on Matthew. Matthew's a biography. All these Gospels are biographies about the life of Jesus. So it makes sense they'd be written in third person. and how they would know about what Jesus did, like in conversation with Pilate or in Matthew chapter 4 when he's in the wilderness with the devil. I'm just gonna mute you because you have some noise in your background.
You talking to somebody?
Yeah. Yeah, how he would. Yo, guest on YouTube. I can hear you, bro. Just mute up for me, please. Am I hearing? What am I hearing? Oh, is that you, Alyssa? Sorry, I'm hearing someone. Okay, back to you, BZ. Yeah, these are. They would have known. Jesus would have retold these stories because even in all four Gospels, Jesus resurrects and he speaks to disciples. And the other Gospels go in depth how he spoke. He was there for them 40 days, for a good amount of time. So he would have given them these stories, and they would have been able then to chronicle them in their writings and narrations. Like the private conversations or these things, Jesus would have narrated these to them while he spoke to them after his resurrection, even throughout his life with them. He would have given them these information, and then they would have been able to write it down because these are biographies. So I really don't see why you have to be uncharitable to the Gospels, when in antiquity we already see narratives and literature that don't have an internal author stated, and these are biographies, so it makes sense they'd be written in third person. And it makes sense that they would know the information about Jesus, what he did in private with Pilate, his conversation with him, or what he spoke, or his conversation with the devil, because Jesus was there to tell them what he was going to say. So yeah, you can go ahead. After that, you can go ahead and respond to that, and then yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't make sense for them to be written in third person. Especially
My fault. Guest
when
on
two of them were supposedly
Video Ninja
the disciples
on YouTube. My
of Jesus
fault, man.
and
I
were
was hearing
there.
someone else.
Supposedly there during all of this that they're writing about. No, it doesn't make sense that they're written in third person. Another thing that doesn't make sense is supposedly, out of the synoptic gospels, Mark, then Matthew, then Luke. Those are the synoptic gospels with, Matthew and Luke, using Mark as a guide to construct their books, and then adding a little more, and pretty much copying verbatim, word for word, a large part of the book of Mark in their own. So if Mark wasn't there, Mark never met Jesus at all, and Matthew used Mark's writing as a guide, that would make zero sense if Matthew was there. So that would be like me writing a biography of your dad, and then me never meeting your dad, me writing a biography of your dad, and then you coming behind me and writing a biography of your dad, and then using my writing as a guide to write your own. It wouldn't make sense at all. Also, last thing, I'm glad that, you initially you brought up Theophilus stuff in the book of Luke. Do you know who Theophilus was? I'm really curious about this. Theophilus was?
He was a friend of the Dr. Luke.
Theophilus was the bishop of Antioch.
Okay.
Do you know when Theophilus was the bishop of Antioch? Would you like to look that up?
Would this be a different Theophilus? I mean, I could look it up. Well, you can tell me. If you know, you can tell me. When was he the bishop of Antioch?
Theophilus was the bishop of Antioch from 160. Theophilus was the bishop of Antioch from 169 to 180. Beautiful. So if Luke was writing those accounts to Theophilus, and Luke was supposedly writing that stuff in the early 3rd century, how could Luke be writing accounts to a guy that wasn't even born yet until 120?
Got you. So I'll respond to what you said. I'll respond to that first since he brought up last. This would just be a different Theophilus then. Even in I'm going to mute you because you have some noise. But even in early antiquity, because this is when the books are written, so I'm going to keep bringing up early antiquity. Many people shared names. For example, even Jesus' name, I believe, the man who was freed from the cross, he is also called Jesus Barabbas. So names were shared. People had a lot of names that were similar. Even in Jewish custom, Zechariah had the same name. But even in antiquity, many people had similar names. So if there's one Theophilus of Antioch would be a different individual mentioned who was born in 160. So this would just be a different Theophilus Luke is referring to, who would be a friend of his. And what other Theophilus was there then? A friend of Luke. I'm not done responding to you, by the way. So no, it's not a friend. He calls him. He called him. Brother, don't cut me off, please. I let you speak. I didn't cut you off. So I answered your question. He's a friend of Luke. I'm going to respond to what else he said. Yeah. So in regards to again, these are biographies. What you said earlier. these are biographies, so I'd expect them to be written in third person. Now, what you brought up is the Markan priority view, which is that Mark wrote his gospel first, and Matthew and Luke took information and used it to help them construe their gospels. That is still perfectly fine, because Mark, it's not like Mark had no information about Jesus. Mark was the disciple of a disciple who was incredibly close to Jesus. He was a disciple of Peter, according to the tradition. So if Mark was a disciple of Peter who was incredibly close to Jesus, then it would have no issue with these other gospel writers using Mark as a source to make sure the evidence and make sure the information is correct or lined up. And even still, Matthew and Luke have information in their gospels which is not recorded in Mark. For example, the nativity scenes of Matthew and Luke are not recorded in Mark. And the nativity scenes of Matthew and Luke do differ. Not in different information, but Matthew says some stuff that Luke doesn't say, and Luke says stuff that Matthew doesn't say. Some is silent on one is silent on another thing. So there are times when they differ from Mark. So them using Mark a little bit for information, which is a view that's held, not necessarily the right view. Church tradition says Matthew is first, but let's grant it. Even then, that doesn't disprove that these would still be biographies. They're just saying it doesn't make sense, but that's not actually an argument against it. It would still not prove that these aren't for some reason reliable. These would still be biographies written in the first century and in antiquity, which are just internally anonymous, but have heavy external attestation within all throughout church history, unanimously attributed to their traditional authors, and record accurate information about who the man Christ Jesus was. Rohan, you did seem like you wanted to say something, so go ahead. Be easy. I'll let you respond after he speaks. Be easy. I'll let you respond after he speaks, and then respectfully, I will have to move on because I do have some other guests.
Yeah. Well, pretty much, according to traditions, Irenaeus wrote about John and the Apocalypse, which we know as Revelations. I forgot the time period, but there was a time period, you could say 96 AD, over the reign of something. I forgot what the exact name is, but I can give you the book of what Irenaeus speaks about. He attributes John, from the Gospel of John, to the writer of Revelations, the Apocalypse, saying that we had this prior to when John wrote Revelation, and that it is not two different Johns, that it is the same person, in the sense where we had these documentations through the traditions. I just feel like a huge portion of your, thought process is just historical, but again, within Christianity, we hold such rich traditions where I just feel like you neglect it a lot.
All right, so be easy. I'll let you respond, and then I'll respectfully move on. So you can respond.
Host, do you refer to your friends as most excellent?
If they are someone that is ministered, then yeah, I mean the honorable right hand prime minister. I could be a friend of Mark Carney, so refer him to right honorable. Right? Sorry, you didn't hear me.
If someone who is a minister, yes, like a bishop of Antioch, who Theophilus was in the late 2nd century,
or someone else is just a great person,
which is
right.
No, there was no other Theophilus. If Luke existed and was writing, I'm not assuming that.
Go ahead.
There's no other Theophilus.
I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah. So there's no way Luke could be writing this stuff and addressing it to most excellent Theophilus when most excellent Theophilus, who was the bishop of Antioch in the late 2nd century, wasn't even born until 120. There's no way that Luke could be writing this book to someone who wasn't even thought about yet until nearly 100 years later. So that right there, in the beginning of Acts as well, Theophilus, the bishop of Antioch, who was a Christian convert in the 150s, So it's evident that all of the books were written in the 2nd century. That's literally why no one ever refers to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John before 180 when
Irenaeus
against heresies, when Irenaeus named them that. Literally no one ever refers to them that, and no one referred to any of those books prior to 144.
All right, be easy.
So no, Those books were written anonymously in the 2nd century, and they're not evidence of the claim of the person.
All right, man. I'm gonna drop you. I respect you for coming. I'm gonna respond to what you said, and then I'll move on because I did say I'm gonna move on. We have some other guests, but yeah, you're just assuming that Luke is addressing the Theophilus of Antioch, who was born, you said, 169. You have no evidence to prove that he's addressing that Theophilus. This Theophilus would have been someone who's of high status, who is a friend of Luke, who Luke is addressing. That's why you can call him most excellent. You're just assuming this is the same Theophilus. And also, your point about no one mentioning the offers of the gospel before 144, whenever Papias made his remark, or Irenaeus made his remark, that's not an argument again. The point of the matter is that compared to other books of antiquity, which have late attestation, the gospel has pretty early attestation within the early 2nd century. And the tradition of the church is that it's unanimously attested to on who the authors are, being Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So you're just rejecting the evidence. You haven't shown. I want to see where Julius Caesar is specifically said as being the author of Gallic Wars, because as far as I know, he doesn't directly state that he is the author in the writing itself, and it's still externally attributed to him because of external attestation. Tiana, I did drop him just because we have more guests and I do want to progress. But if I don't have any guests and he does decide to come back up, there's no issue. He can also come tomorrow, 7:30, if he wants to have more of a debate or a longer conversation. But tonight is question and answer, so I do have guests. I do got to move. Alyssa, how's it going? Sorry, guest on Video Ninja. We did have someone here before you. I don't know how much time you have, but we did have someone here before you, so I'm just going to get to them. Alyssa, how's it going? Happy Mother's Day.
Hello. I can ask my question.
Yeah, go ahead. And just before you ask, what background are you? Like, what faith, or if you're not a faith, what is it?
I was raised Christian in a Christian church. Christian.
All right, no problem. So what's your question?
Yeah, so my question is just using scripture alone. Just looking at the character of God. For example, in Isaiah 45, when it says that I form the light and create darkness, I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So we're over here talking about how there's evil, but isn't it God that is admitting to creating it? What is your response to that?
Yeah, so in the text you read, I'll put on the screen for those on YouTube. You read Isaiah 45:7, which says here, I am Yahweh and there is no other. I form light. I'm just going to mute you, Alyssa, because there's some noise. I form light and create darkness. I make success and create disaster. I, Yahweh, do all these things. The text you read, evil is an old translation. It's not actually the proper translation. Because when he says, I make peace, or let me see, what it usually says, I make peace or I make success, it's contrasting that to the opposite, which would be like calamity, right? So the word used there in Hebrew itself means more like calamity, like disaster. And what God is saying here is that he allows these things to happen. Because God being sovereign overall, God being the sovereign ruler of the universe, he does have a say in what happens on earth. So what God is saying in this text is that he's the one that allows these things to happen. But him allowing things to happen does not mean he's creating it. Because for God to be a loving God, he has to give humans free will. And in our free will, we chose to sin against him. So he has to allow us to live the consequences of our free will action, which is that we face disaster in our world. So because of God's love and God's love for us and God allowing us to freely choose, he has to allow us to live with disaster. He has to allow us to live with calamity or with darkness at times because we chose that path. So God's not saying he directly chooses or directly makes evil. What he's saying is that he allows us to choose, and thus he allows evil in the world. Natural evil like disasters because of our sin, and also evil or also calamity, you could say, that humans cause because we have chosen to sin, and thus we live in a fallen, evil world. Does that answer you a little bit?
Well, yeah, but the only issue is within that whole verse, God is talking about what he has power to do, what he does, what he brings up, what he brings down, and even looking into the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it means harm, disaster, calamity, or adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And calamity itself, because you keep using calamity, it means great harm, suffering, sudden damage, disaster, catastrophe, right? And then you can even say, okay, well, it could say that. Let's examples then. And there are many examples of God actually not only interfering with the will of people, right? Hardening of Pharaoh's heart. God says, I will harden his heart. God sends an evil spirit to torment Saul, right? There's that. There's another one where actually God sends a demonic spirit to trick, right, the other nations and their kings. So there's literally 3 examples of God actually causing, and not only through, the nature or anything, but even using the will of people against them and actually changing, almost like, changing them. And then when you go to Romans 9, it actually backs this, where it says, where it actually talks about how, it actually refers to Pharaoh. I raised you up in this very purpose so that I might display my power, right? And so that my name will be proclaimed, right? And then it says, therefore God has mercy on he has mercy, and he hardens whom he wants to harden. And then it even says, one of you will say to me, then why does God still blame us? For who is able to resist his will? But who are you, a human being, to talk back to God? Shall what is formed say to the one who formed it, why did you make me like this? Or does the potter not have the right to make out of the same lump of clay, some for pottery for special purposes, and some for common uses? And then it just goes on to talk about God and his wrath and his power.
Right.
So basically, he can do whatever he wants with whomever he wants. He makes evil people. He makes good people, and you just don't know which one you fit in. Like literally, in a sense, God made Epstein. If you want to make it that simple.
No, can I respond?
What is your
I'm gonna
response?
respond to you now. So respectfully, you're wrong. You're very far. I'm gonna meet you because you have an echo, but yeah, you're very far off. You brought up examples of God sending an evil spirit to trouble Saul, which I believe is 1 Samuel 14, 15, somewhere around there. You brought up the example of God allowing the evil spirit of 1 Kings chapter 20, 18, something like that.
23.
Rohan, what'd you say?
23.
Thank you.
22, 23 now.
Yeah. And Alyssa, you just repeated basically what I said about the word. You're right that the word used in Isaiah 45 has a multitude of meanings. But since words have multiple meanings, that means the meaning is that, yeah, senor, I'm going to mute you because now you're lying. I do hear an echo in your background. So please, guys, don't be bots. And please be charitable. Yeah, Alyssa.
Brother, I'm going to jump down real quick.
Nope.
Thank you for having me up. God bless.
No
you
problem.
take care.
God bless you, brother.
I'll swing it back around if I have some time.
No problem. God bless you. Yeah, so listen to what you said. Isaiah 45:7, it has multiple meanings. You're right. But that means to understand which meaning is used directly, we have to see what is we have to use the context. Context will tell us what meaning we should use. For example, in one of my videos, I mentioned this. The word bat has meanings. The animal, the object, the baseball bat. According to the context of how you use it, we'll know which meaning. Isaiah 45:7, the word for evil that you said is contrasted with success or peace. That means that when God is saying, I make success and create evil, as you read it, he's contrasting it with peace to say that he allows calamity and he allows peace. That peace happens in our world, he allows that. Calamity happens in our world, he allows that. And because he's sovereign, he could say it as if he does it because he allows it and he's the sovereign ruler. Now, in regards to God sending these evil spirits or God meddling in affairs of men, God has every right. God is sovereign, so he has every right to act within our world. I'm not saying that God cannot act within our world. What I am saying is that God does allow evil things to happen according to his sovereign will because he has to allow humans to live with the actions of our consequences. So, for example, God sent the evil spirit to help his people, the Israelites. God actually sent the evil spirit to actually not help the Israelites because of the sin against him. So when you read Romans 9 does say that God in his ultimate power and glory can choose one for goodness or one for disaster. But that is understood in the context of Paul, that God chooses these people because they choose their path. Even in Exodus, which you quoted, which Pharaoh hardens his heart. Many times in the book of Exodus, I could get a passage if you want me to prove it. Many times in the book of Exodus, the Bible says that Pharaoh hardened his heart then they'll say God hardened his heart. Because the word harden really means that God just allows you to further in your own resolve. So when Pharaoh hardens his heart, Pharaoh is resolved that he's going against God. So God is allowing Pharaoh to be more hardened in his own choice. So in Romans 9, God uses these vessels for wrath or uses these vessels for glory because God allows us to choose freely which path we'll take. And if we choose the path that goes against him, he'll allow us to be further in our resolve in that path. So that's why God in Romans 1, he says he allows those who go against him to have a reprobate mind, a depraved mind, because he allows you to choose the path you take. So the Bible is clear that God allows us to choose. So when we see these examples of God meddling in the affairs of men, that doesn't negate his free will, it just shows his sovereignty. So your original point about Isaiah 45 doesn't account to this. God is just allowing evil like he allows peace, because since he allows us free will, he has to allow us to live in a world that is changed by our free will. For example, natural disaster changed by our sinning and thus evils in the world, or people doing evil things, evil acts like unaliving others or these evil things. They are allowed by God because we humans sinned against him. So we have to live in a world that we have created, essentially, that we have made with sin, that we have put sin in for our own actions. So God, even in Jeremiah 18, God says that, if a person who's evil turns to do good, he will show them mercy, because God's nature is that he will show mercy to those who respond positively to him, and he'll show wrath and judgment to those who go against him. So God just allows these things. It's not God directly causing them. You can respond to that.
Yeah, and again, in this focusing on like text itself, you're just adding what you assume would mean. Like you're saying, it just means that he allows things to happen. That's not what it's saying here, especially if you're looking at the context of Isaiah 45 in itself. It's not talking about human beings at all. It's talking about God and his powerful and how mighty he is, right? It's not talking about, because you guys do stuff and I let you guys do whatever you guys, because you guys have free will. It's not at all talking about that. It's talking about God's sovereignty, right? And then, even if you look at the word create, it means bara, right? Or dispatch, right? God creates, he dispatches. And this is also used a lot of times when God creates other things. So why is it now dispatch bara now means, no, it's also what humans do when create and dispatch and bara is also used Genesis as well.
I'll answer that for
which
you. I'll answer
God
that for you right
creates.
now. I'll answer that for you right now. Again, bara, as you read, has a multitude of meanings, because just like any word, it's to be understood in the context in which it's used. So, for example, in this context, he says in the third line, I make success and create disaster. Now, God doesn't create success. I can succeed and I can do something good. That's what it is translated. I make success. So I can do something good, and that is my success. But what it's saying is that God allows me to have these successes in life. Like I'll show you the text. I'll put it on the screen, so I'm not lying. Let me flip my camera. Here, this is the screen.
But it's also not success. It's peace.
Sorry, one sec.
The word is peace.
One sec. Sorry. So as you see, sorry, please let me speak.
It's not success.
Please don't cut me off, please. As you see on the screen, it says, I form light and create darkness. I make success and create disaster. I am Yahweh who does all these things. Now, God does not directly cause me to do my successes in life. And even if you say peace, let's use peace, because that's how it is translated at times. Let's use peace. God does not, Gen X, someone mute Gen X, see, that's a troll. God does not directly make peace in our world. Like I can make peace with my brother. God is not doing that himself. What these are saying is that God allows them to happen. Because look, peace, I can make peace with you if I wronged you. That's not God doing it, that's me doing it. But what it's saying then is that God is allowing these things to happen because God, who's sovereign over the universe, allows everything to happen. He gives the allowance for these things to happen because of our free will to choose right or wrong. So, no, this text wouldn't be saying that God directly causes evil. What this text is actually saying is that God allows good, God allows evil. He allows both of these things to happen because we live in a world that we have chosen evil. So we got to live in a world that is affected by evil. That would be the answer there. Now, do you have another question?
Well, yeah, the word.
Do you have another?
The word there
question, or does that help you?
is shalom, which means
peace, right?
Yeah, I do have another question.
Go ahead. I'll let you ask one more.
Yeah, and then comparing that to then Romans 9.
I'll let you ask one more question, then I will move on. So go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, I mean, you still didn't really answer the other one, which is just, I mean, yeah, but my question then is, again, when you're okay, Romans 9, we can go back to that one, where it's literally saying that God creates objects for his own wrath. He creates, it literally says, so verse 22, what if God, although choosing to show his wrath and make his power known, bore with patience the objects of his wrath, prepared for destruction? What if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom he be prepared for in advance for his glory? So basically, again, okay, just answer, like, what is the explanation of these verses, right? Where it's saying that God forms whatever he forms, right? He can make evil people, he can make good people, and he can do away with whoever he wants for whatever he wants, because it's for his own glory.
Yeah, so
because the narrative that we're told in church is that God is love, God is compassionate, and yet when there's children being bombed in Gaza, right? When there are African children starving, when colonialism has destroyed these nations, right? But the narrative though is God is love. But really, Romans 9 is pretty clear that no, God can do whatever he wants to with whomever he wants to for whatever he wants to.
Understood. Yeah, so even in what you said in church we are raised to know that God is love. Just gonna meet you guys some noise. But even with the word love, since you're human, I guess you'd understand that love does not necessitate that we always allow what we deem right to happen, or what we humans would deem good to happen. For example, out of love, sometimes you gotta allow someone to make a mistake. For example, you might allow your son to, your son chooses or asks you to go to a party. You know the risks that come with it, but out of love, you let him go. Right? Because you got to allow him to choose. He's old enough to choose. And if he does get drunk or he gets into an accident at the party, it's not that, you're not showing love. Alyssa, I don't know why you're commenting like I'm not answering. I'm answering directly. Please be respectful. So out of love, you let him go to the party and whatnot, because love does not necessitate that you'll stop them from doing whatever. So in regards to what was happening in Gaza, as you said, or Israeli conflict, and at people in Africa starving and just war and evil. Again, God allowed humans to make the free will choice to choose evil, because yes, allows us to choose him or choose evil. That's free will. And because of our free will to choose, we chose evil. So God, showing love to us, allows us to live in a world that is affected by our free will choices. So we live in a world that is troubled with sin because we chose to choose sin. We chose to go against from God. Our forefathers chose to eat the apple, and thus we have to live with the consequences of those actions. And when we sin, we are complicit in what they did. So we see children starving all over the world, or we see people passing away in wars and conflicts because of the actions that our forefathers chose and that we are complicit in. So that's God's love, and that he allows us to freely choose if we want to serve him or not. And if we choose not to serve him, that's fine. But then we have to live with the consequences of those actions, which is that we live in a world marred by evil. In regards to Romans 9, you're right that the text does say that God has the right to choose vessels for his mercy and vessels for his wrath. But the text is just saying that God chooses vessels for mercy and for wrath. That's what it says. So it's talking about God's sovereign right to choose what he will use this person for example. In the context of Paul, since reading Paul's writings, Paul in the same context says in 2 Timothy 2, in a large house there are not only gold and silver vessels, but also those of wood and clay, some for honorable use and some for dishonorable. So if anyone purifies himself from anything dishonorable, he'll be a special instrument, set apart, useful to the master, prepared for every good work. So even in the context of Paul's own writings, he does make it clear that vessels can purify themselves from dishonorable works. Because Romans 9, the context of Romans 9 is that God allows those to choose, and when they choose these actions, God then allows them to be resolved in it. That's the context of Romans, Romans 1 makes that clear. So when they choose those actions, that God can now use that vessel for his wrath. That's why Pharaoh in Exodus chose evil. So God used Pharaoh as a vessel of wrath. And those who show mercy, who show mercy or who are in tune with God, God will show mercy to them because they have made that choice to choose God, to follow God, so God shows mercy. So it's not that God is forcibly causing one to be evil or to be good. God is allowing these choices to happen. And when we make our choice, God allowing those choices to happen, he will act accordingly. If I choose evil, if I choose to go against him, He will allow me to stay in that resolve. He will show wrath to me. And because I'm a vessel of wrath, I have been made a vessel of wrath because of the choice I have made and him allowing that to happen. And similarly, if I choose to be merciful and I choose to follow God, he will I will be called a vessel of his mercy because he shows his mercy and his love to me. That's the context of Romans, and Romans 9 in particular does speak on that as well. So yeah, let's thank you for joining, but I am going to move on. I have some other guests. So that at least gave you an answer. I know you seem to be a little callous to Christianity. Hopefully I gave you a bit of an answer to at least get somewhere. And if you want, tomorrow I'm live at 7:30, so you could ask more questions. Now, yeah, Alyssa, so it seems you just reject the answer so far. Okay, so guest on YouTube. Sorry, guys, I have a guest on YouTube, so I'm going to get to him because he's been waiting for a minute. So I'm just going to unplug this, and y'all will be able to hear. 1 second, guest on YouTube. Let me just plug in my speaker, and then I'll get to you right now. All right. What's up? What's up, man? You could unmute. Hello, hello. Yo, 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 guest on YouTube. Let me see if I can hear you. A brother on YouTube, just leave maybe and rejoin because I'm not getting audio from you. So just leave and rejoin real quick. So I could hear you, all right? Yeah. To those on TikTok, I have a guest on Yusuf on YouTube, so I'll just respond to him. Yeah. Apply this. Okay, yeah, there we go. Let's see if he's still there. To those on TikTok, happy Mother's Day to you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. Hope you guys' mothers are blessed. God bless you guys for joining. To those on YouTube, same thing. God bless y'all. All right, brother. Are you there? Are you there on YouTube? Are you there, bro? Connect your mic. I'm talking. I cannot hear you at all. Since you okay, let me see. Audio settings. The microphone connected. iPhone. Okay. Request. I'm gonna request you to change your microphone. It might be a mic, okay? I think your stuff is connected to your. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. All right. 1 sec.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So go ahead. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
Going good. Going good.
Hey, man. Yeah. So just a quick question. In Matthew chapter 1, verses 21, is your opinion that the prophecy he quotes in Isaiah 7 and 14, is your opinion that it's of a dual prophecy or it's just a one-time fulfillment?
Great question. I'll answer that. To those on TikTok and YouTube, the individual just asked if Christ quoting Matthew 7, the prophecy of Isaiah, Emmanuel be born, if I take that as a dual fulfillment or a full direct prophecy. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll answer you 1 sec. Yeah, so Matthew 1, it is a direct prophecy. How it's understood by some commentators, and I'll actually pull up the commentary. I'll put it in the chat for you so you can read this on your own. How it's understood is that Isaiah 7 is not a dual prophecy, but a split prophecy. I'll explain what I mean by that. Let me pull up Isaiah 7. So in Isaiah 7, the context is that God has sent Isaiah 7's context is that God has sent Isaiah to speak to King Ahaz to assure him that the kingdoms of Israel and Syria will not take over the land of Israel, that land of Judah. That God will still preserve the house of David in the land of Judah. So it says in verse 10, then Yahweh spoke again to Ahaz, ask for a sign from the Lord your God. It could be as deep as Sheol or as high as heaven. But Ahaz replied, I will not ask, I will not test the Lord. So you agree, guest on YouTube here. Do you agree that Ahaz said he's not going to test the Lord, right? It says that.
Yeah, he's not going to ask him for the sign, yeah.
Beautiful. So God is addressing Ahaz, but since Ahaz says no, it says here in verse 13, Isaiah said, "Listen, house of David." So you see how it's addressing another group now?
That's where I would disagree.
Are you asking a question? What is your thoughts on this then?
Well, yeah, I'll give my stance, but I don't want to teach, but I do. I might have some pushback, but right now I just subscribe to the Old Testament. I'm open to accepting the New. I just would have to prove it. But yeah, in my understanding, it's the exact same sign. So when he starts speaking to the house of David, that's because Ahaz refused to ask it. But this sign is not just concerning Ahaz, it's for the whole house of David, because as you stated, Samaria and Assyria are about to team up and attack Judah. That concerns the whole house of David, not Ahaz himself. So just because he says, "I'm not going to tempt you," now the Lord said, I'll give you the sign myself. It's the same sign concerning what Ahaz was worried about. I don't think it's two different signs.
Yeah, so you're right that this sign he would give would be for the house of David in totality. But the thing is that he's in just what the text says, it says he's directly addressing Ahaz first. And then it switches to he's addressing to the house of David. That's the point. That's not even the main point, but I'm just saying that. So the text does switch on who is directly addressing in the text. It starts with Ahaz, then it starts to address the house of David. Going down, can I click this? What's going on? Continuing down, it says here, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. See," and by the way, this "you" here is plural, which is important. It's addressing the house of David, plural. "See, the virgin will conceive, have a son, and name him Emmanuel. By the time he learns to reject what is bad and choose what is good, he'll be eating curds and honey." This part from 14 to 15 is a prophecy about Jesus. The reason is because, firstly, the name the son will have, meaning what the son will be called, is "God is with us," is a name that cannot be called to a regular human. Theophanic names are not an example of that, if that's what you would bring. Theophoric names are not addressing the person as God. They're just praising God. But this name directly calls this individual God. He's with them. And secondly, it's a sign. It's a wonder. It wouldn't be a wonder for a natural woman to have a child, because then that would just be a natural act of nature. But what would be a sign for this nation, what would be a wonder, is if a woman has a child after the unnatural manner, aka a virgin who has not had sexual intercourse, which is what the word almah means in Hebrew. If you disagree, you can talk about that. The sign would be for one who has not had sexual intercourse before to have a son, and for him to be God with us. So that's a sign, which makes it something that cannot be accomplished by Shear Jashub, which is the son that Isaiah has with him at this point. When you continue down, it says, "By the time he learns to reject what is bad and choose what is good, he'll be eating curds and honey," meaning this child will grow up, which is Jesus grew up. Then in verse 16 it says, "For before the boy knows to reject what is bad and choose what is good," this word for boy here can also is referred to like as a toddler, which wouldn't be able to be used for this child who's not even born. But it says here, "Before the boy knows to reject what is good, bad and choose what is good, the land of the two kings you dread will be abandoned." The "you" used in verse 16 is now singular, because it's directly addressing King Ahaz, because this is Ahaz's kingdom currently. But the reason it uses a plural "you" here is because it's addressing the whole house of David, which will continue after Ahaz, because the house of David needs certainty that it will not die off. So the certainty is that the whole house of David will continue, because God is giving them a sign of a son who will reign forever, who will be God with them, who conceived of a virgin. Down here, the "you" becomes singular because it's addressing Ahaz specifically, and that his current kingdom will not be overtaken by Rezin and Pekah, the kings of Syria and Israel, respectively. Because this word "you" here is singular, this "you" up here is plural, so it's a split prophecy. 14 through 15, 13 through 15 regarding Jesus, and then 16 through 17 in reference, 16 through the rest or whatever, 16 through 17 reference to Shear Jashub, this child with Isaiah. So you can respond to that.
Okay, appreciate it. I think, but it sounds like you're saying it's more of a dual prophecy, because you're saying that sign applies to both Ahaz and at the first century.
So what do you understand dual prophecy? You mean like it has an immediate fulfillment and a future fulfillment, right? That's what you understand by dual prophecy?
Yeah, that's what I've always been told. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it has a current fulfillment and a future fulfillment. What I'm saying is that both of them are fulfillment. I'm saying that from 14 through 15, that is specifically future. It's a prophecy. And from 16 through 17, that is for the present time. Because I'm giving out from the text. The words used are different. This you is plural. I could show from the Hebrew. Verse 14 we pulled up on the right side. The you used in verse 14 addressing the house of David is plural. That the house of David will not die out. See, it's masculine plural. The you used in verse 16 is singular because it's addressing Ahaz and his kingdom, that it will not be overtaken by the current threats of Rezin and Pekah. So I'm saying that's a dual prophecy. Like, let me ask you, would it be any sort of sign or any sort of wonder if this, what sign or wonder would it be if a regular woman who's had intercourse has a child? What wonder would that be? How would that be a sign?
Yeah, no, I don't take it that the only sign is that the child being born. When you continue reading, there's more to the sign. She gives birth to a child that before the child knows to refuse the good and the evil, those two kingdoms that you abhor, you're afraid of, will be taken down. Also, it says butter and honey shall he eat, signifying, because during a siege, those types of foods would not be eaten. That's not something you would be worried about making butter and honey. That's why the reference is there, because they're about to undergo siege. That's the sign, not just someone being born. And then real quick, the problem with what I'm seeing with how you explained it, it's the exact same sign. Like that sign that he said in 14 is the same sign he said he refused to ask the Lord for. It's because then he goes on to tell you that the two kingdoms that you despise will be thrown down. Within 65 years, it says in verse 8, those two kingdoms would have to be taken down. But it's the exact same sign for the same purpose. He told Ahaz, you don't have to worry about these two kingdoms. Ask me a sign, I'll prove it to you. Ahaz says no. But then the Lord said, okay, I'll give you a sign anyway. Here, O house of David. It's about that exact prophecy. To say that two verses are about 700 years later, and then two verses are for now, it seems like a lot of like adding to the text that you wouldn't see, because again, the sign is for that specific thing of Israel and Assyria coming against Judah. Would you agree?
All right. No, I don't agree with you, but I'll tell you why. Firstly, do you agree that the you here that is highlighted in green is a plural? Is in a plural form?
Yeah.
All right. Do you agree that the you highlighted in blue is a singular?
Can you show me?
I have the Hebrew on the right side. It says here, for before will know the boy to refuse evil and choose good, will be forsaken the land whose you, personal second person masculine singular. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this you is singular. So you agree with those.
Okay.
So the point I was making of that is that it's referring, it'd be a different referent if it's plural and singular, because the singular referent is referring to King Ahaz, because God is giving him a specific sign, of this son who will be born before he rejects that these kings will be abandoned. He's giving him this sign. But with this other passage up here, what's going on is that God is giving them a sign that the house of David, its light will not go out. So the sign for the house of David is that its light will not go out. Doesn't just extend to Rezin and Pekah, because he has to give them a sign that he will actually fulfill his promise to David that he'll always have a son to sit on the throne. That was 2 Chronicles 7. So the sign here is that a virgin will conceive, have a son, and name him Emmanuel. So my question to you, based on this text, was the woman who gave birth to the son that you believe this is, I'm guessing you think it's Hezekiah or something like that, was the woman who gave birth to the son, was she a virgin?
No.
So this prophecy?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Test. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. My mic keeps cutting out. But yeah, I can hear you. So
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if she wasn't a virgin, then how would she be able to fulfill this prophecy?
Because it's not about a literal virgin. You know, there's two words in the Hebrew for that, right?
Yeah, Bethula and almah. But I don't agree that almah is ever used of someone who's not a virgin. I disagree if you're saying almah can mean young woman. I disagree with that, like off the bat.
You don't think almah's ever used for a young woman?
No, I believe almah, when it's used, it's only used for someone who has not had sexual intercourse yet, which would include young women. That's why the definitions of the word say virgin. Like all the definitions you'll get of the word, virgin.
Okay, okay. I don't want to exit out and go to my Bible app because it might cut off my audio. I'm not sure. I've never used this software before, but if you pull it up, it's used plenty of times to indicate a non-virgin. But second, I think what's most important, brother, like I understand the word thing. Like I'm not too big on that. I think the context is what supersedes etymology, and the fact that something you said that the sign that he gave to Ahaz was this boy being born, but we're kind of that's the same sign about the siege that Israel and Assyria are planning on Judah. So you'd have to either say there's two signs or there's two births being done, because you did just say that that's the same sign that he gave to.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I said that originally. That's why I was saying it's not dual, like a current and a future. I said originally that's a split prophecy. That's what I was saying, that it's split, that there is a sign given.
How is that split?
Yeah, because I'm saying that there's a first sign given, which is a virgin, which can't be fulfilled by any regular human, any regular woman who has had intercourse. It has to be fulfilled by a virgin.
Walk with me slow. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you, brother. I don't, no disrespect. Okay. Walk with me slow. The sign of the virgin is for who?
The house of David, which extends past Ahaz's reign.
Concerning what? What for the house of David? What is it?
That they will always have a son to sit on the throne, and that the light that God said he would keep in the house of David in 1 Kings 15 will not go out. That he will keep.
Okay, and where does Isaiah? Where does it say that here?
In the context that he says.
Which context?
Verse 4. Let's see, verse 5. Verse 4. Okay. Meet Ahaz. Say to him, calm down and be quiet. Don't be afraid or cowardly because of these two smoldering sticks. For Aram, this is what the Lord says. It will not happen. It will not occur. They will not overtake you, essentially, he says. And if you don't stand firm in your faith, then you'll not stand at all. So the whole context is that God's telling Ahaz that his kingdom won't be overtaken. And his kingdom's in Judah. And you agree, and overtaken by Israel and Syria. You agree, right?
Yeah, right. But real quick,
so
that has nothing to.
Sorry, don't cut me off, please. I'm still. You said walk you through, so I'm going slow. So when Judah's kingdom is not overtaken, that would also mean that God is saying He's preserving the light for the house of David, right?
No, I disagree. You're inferring a lot of.
So then you're saying. Sorry. Wait. Hold up. You said no.
Can I respond to your question?
I'll let you respond, but you gotta answer me this then. You said no.
Well, can I give the full answer so you understand what I mean?
Answer me, and then you can answer. You said no when I said God is preserving the light in the house of David. So if you're saying no, then are you saying that God can allow the house of David to be extinguished, but He's just preserving this kingdom right now?
Yeah, the reason I said no was because it's about not 700 years or 2,000 years past that. It's about concerning that situation that he's concerned about. He was concerned about Ephraim, northern kingdom Israel, teaming up with Assyria to attack Judah. To say it's about that, even if you said it was about that and the future, you run into a problem, because now you'd have to say there's two signs or there's two births. So this is why I asked you from the beginning: is it one prophecy or is it dual? If it's dual, I'm almost done, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I understand. I'm trying to walk with you because I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's just when you're applying the two sign thing, it's the exact same sign for this. Look at verse 10. Then the Lord spoke to Ahaz ask for a sign from the Lord your God. It can be as deep as Sheol or as high as the heaven. Would you agree when he said, ask Ahaz for the sign, it was concerning what he just said prior? Do you agree?
Yes, and I'm going to answer you. You keep mentioning that I'd run into a problem. But I already said from the beginning that I believe it's a split prophecy. So I do believe it's referring not to two births. I believe it's referring to two children, two boys, one who will be born later, being Jesus, and the other one who is born now, who's that toddler of verse 16, who will be Shir Jashub, who came with Isaiah according to verse 3. Meet him with your son Shir Jashub. And then also his other son, Meher Shalal Hashbaz, who was born in chapter 8. So I'm saying I do believe it's about two boys. And I believe verse 14 is specifically about Jesus. Now, yes, this sign is referring to what he said here. And that's what Ahaz said, I won't take that sign. So God says, Ahaz told God, I will not ask for that sign. I will not test you. So God was upset with that. You can still hear me? Make sure my mic is still on. You can still hear me? Test. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So because Ahaz rejects this sign, then God says he switches the referent to the house of David. So even when you say he's not speaking to the house of David, I disagree even there, because he's speaking to Ahaz's kingdom, current kingdom, but he's also speaking to the whole house of David, because that's literally what he mentions here. So he's speaking about how he won't let the light in the house of David be extinguished. That's why he says he will give them a sign or a wonder to see that they can know that this won't happen, which is that a virgin, so one who hasn't had sexual intercourse, will conceive, which again wouldn't be able to be attributed to Hezekiah or any other natural born human, because no natural virgin, no current virgin can conceive and have a child. So this prophecy, just with what the Lord says here, cannot be applied to anyone really other than Jesus, because even in what Yahweh says himself through the prophet Isaiah, it eliminates any other natural person from being this virgin, because no virgin can have a child, because you have to have sexual intercourse to have a child. So even then, and then in verse 16, as I said already, he switches the you to singular because he's switching the referent to Ahaz. And he's speaking to Ahaz in verse 16, which is why he talks about the toddler, the boy, who will know to reject bad and choose good. And the land of the kings you dread, singular, will be gone, because he's now talking to Ahaz saying, even though you rejected the sign, I'll still make sure that your kingdom is preserved, because these kings will not overtake you. It says in the next chapter that Assyria will take over Israel, and Assyria will even pour into Judah, but will reach to the neck, but won't fully overtake Judah in chapter 8. So it's split. It's a split prophecy, and you can respond, but I want you to respond specifically to verse 14 where it says a virgin will conceive as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, for the virgin thing, I'm just gonna say what I said earlier. That word does not mean a woman who's never had intercourse.
Can you prove that though?
But
you're making you're making a claim. I want you to prove that respectfully.
Yeah, if you just pull up the word, and every time it's used, it's not always used for that. And if you,
all right,
you know what you said to the lady before. Words have different meanings depending on context.
Right.
So it just depends. Now I'm giving you the clear context. Like the way I study the Bible is I believe context supersedes etymology pretty much 100% of the time. Right.
I agree. Yeah.
The word's definition cannot shake the context of the chapter.
I agree.
In this chapter, brother. Right. In this chapter, the sign that he gave in verse 14 had to happen. Within the 60.
I really don't mean to cut you off, but you brought me to pull up the way where this word is used in the house defined. So I do have it on the screen. So before you can, I just want you to read this. I'll let you read the definition, and I want us to go through the ways this word is used, because this is a big point for me. Like, if I want us to stay on this point, since you're arguing against the text, because this is a big point. I think this point destroys any other person being able to be fill in this position other than Jesus. So you told me to bring up how it's used, so could you just read this for me? It should be on your screen. You should be able to see it.
Yeah, could you scroll up a bit? What am I looking at?
This is the outline of biblical usage. So it says here, virgin, young woman of marriageable age, so about to be married, not married yet, or a maid or newlywed, as it says here. And could you read this for me? Additional information, as it says right here.
It says additional information from the outline of biblical usage. There is no instance where it can be proved that almah designates a young woman who is not a virgin. The fact of virginity is obvious in Genesis 24:43, where almah is used, one who was being sought as a bride for Isaac.
All right.
This is Theological Word Book of the. Okay, so hold on real quick. So what you just pulled up, brother, what is that? That's a commentary, correct?
Yeah, it's giving additional information because these commentators went through
Okay, that's all.
went through the places where what is used, and they have found that it's not used for anyone who has had sexual intercourse. Every instance, it's showing a young woman who is not a virgin, and I can show evidence for this as well. I'm not just appealing to the commentary. Let's go down here. They said Genesis 24. You agree that before Rebecca married Isaac, she was a virgin, right? She didn't have sex.
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, I agree. So that's why I said
okay.
it means both.
So wait,
It depends on the context.
Hold up.
But
Yeah, I'm going to show you. We're going through it because you said it can be used for a young woman who has had sex. That's what you're saying. You're saying it can refer to one that hasn't had sex, but you're saying then it could also refer to a young woman who has had sex because you're saying it doesn't mean virgin in Isaiah 7. So going through how it's used. Genesis 24 it's used for Rebecca, who is being sought for Isaac. So do you agree that Rebecca would have been a virgin who didn't have sexual intercourse? In Genesis 24? Hello?
no, can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue. Exodus 2:8. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, and I think said to Miriam, "Go ahead." So the girl went and called the child's mother. Do you agree that Miriam, Moses' sister, would have been young and wouldn't have had sexual intercourse at this time?
Yeah.
All right. Psalm 68:25. The singers went on, the musicians after them, in the midst of the young women, or it can be translated virgin, in the midst of the young women beating tambourines. Does the text here explicitly state that these are people who had sexual intercourse?
No, it doesn't say.
All right. Proverbs 30, verse 19. It's talking about the words of Agrior, I believe. His words. And he's making a proverb here. He's saying these things I don't understand. These things are wonderful to understand. The way of the eagle in the sky, how the eagle's in the sky. The way of a snake on a rock. The way of a ship in the middle of the sea. And the way of a man with a virgin. Do you agree that it doesn't necessitate anybody who had intercourse, but it's talking about like a newlywed in this proverb?
Yeah, so let me just respond fully. So brother, what you're doing is you're going down the line of verses, which again, hold on,
pause,
I haven't cut you off at all, brother.
Pause.
Brother, I haven't cut you off once.
Yeah, but I'm the host, and I hear what you're saying, so I'm gonna mute you right now, because I'm bringing you down these verses for a reason. So don't try to discredit what I'm doing or anything like that. Try to go change. I'm bringing you down these here for a reason. Because my whole point of this is that if it says virgin and it means what it says, which is one who has not had intercourse, then it's talking about one who has not had intercourse, which means it cannot be Hezekiah or anybody other than Jesus spoken of here. So since you're contesting that point and you're saying it can mean one who has had intercourse, I'm bringing you down the verses to see if in any instance where it's used is referring to one who's had intercourse. So then we could see if your view of it being able to be used for one who has that intercourse fits with Isaiah 7 and fits the context of how the word is used. That's why we're going through it. So we're still going. Don't cut me off until after I go through these passages with you, all right? And then I'll let you respond. It's not that I'm not trying to let you respond. We're just going through the passages. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's go through it. Let's see if it could actually mean one who is who has had intercourse, or if it fully means one who has not had intercourse, if that's literally what the word is referring to. So you can unmute. I'm going to continue reading, though, because I was not finished. I just want a yes or no for each of these, and then I'll let you respond. Song of Solomon 1 verse 3. Your oils have a pleasing fragrance. Your name is like purified oil. Therefore, the young women love you. Would you agree that this text does not necessitate that they've had sexual intercourse? Hello? You're on mute. You can unmute. Hello? Hello? Brother on YouTube, are you talking? I'm gonna click on mute. Are you there?
Yeah, you have to unmute me.
Oh, I have to. Okay, I have to mute you. Okay, I didn't know. My fault. All right, so I'm gonna finish. I'll let you respond, but I'm just gonna go through these first, and then I just want to yes or no for these. So I was asking, do you agree that this passage does not necessitate that these virgins or these young women had sexual intercourse?
No, I disagree.
So you believe that it does necessitate that they have had sexual intercourse?
Like I was telling you earlier, it can, because the word can be used for both instances. So it's ambiguous. To say it's one or the other would be dishonest. So
No,
yeah.
I said, you didn't hear my question. I said, do you agree that it doesn't necessitate that they've had intercourse? I agree that text doesn't.
It can,
Yeah.
because Solomon.
Oh, you're saying it does necessitate that they've
It
had
can,
intercourse?
it can, because Solomon had many wives, many of them of young marriageable age. So it can mean the ones who love him, it could be very well his wives.
So you're saying when I say necessitate, what I mean is that it must mean this. So you're saying it must mean here that they've had intercourse?
See, that's my point, brother. That's my point. It can be ambiguous.
It can. So you're
That's
saying
what I'm
so
showing you.
that's why it's a
It
necessity.
can. You can't say these are not. You can't say these are women who have never had sexual intercourse.
Brother, all I'm asking you is it that's what I'm asking basically.
I've
Is it
answered.
saying they are, or did it just, it's a possibility? That's basically it's saying it's a possibility, right?
That's my point. Yeah.
Okay, so that means that it doesn't necessitate, which is what I was saying. It doesn't necessitate.
And it doesn't necessitate for your position either, correct?
In this context, yes, it doesn't necessitate it. But I'll prove why.
Thank you. So, this point is mute, brother.
No, it's not, because I'm not done. I'm not done. That's why I'm saying it's not mute.
Can we get back to the context of Isaiah 7?
Nope, because I brought up this
No?
point. I'm still
Okay.
I'm still speaking on the point, brother. This is Isaiah 7, the word virgin. So you've seen where
As
every
you just
time.
admitted, it doesn't necessitate either.
Hold up. So we've gone through it, and you have Isaiah 7 and you have Isaiah Song of Solomon 6. So you've seen that every time where it gives us information about these people directly, it's referring to virgins. And the only other times we have the word used here is just ambiguous. So that would mean, from the evidence we have of this word being used in the biblical text, when it's actually used of a person we can know, it's used of them being someone who has not had sexual intercourse. So that's why when it's translated as virgin, and whenever it's given as definition, the definition is always given as virgin. So I'm going to ask you, what is your evidence to say that in Isaiah 7 verse 14, it is not talking about a woman who's had sexual intercourse? You can go ahead.
The context of Isaiah 7. So if we go back, when you said that you agree, the son, there's two sons. Let me ask you a question. Where'd you get the idea from Isaiah 7 there was two sons? Which verse?
Yeah, verse 3, verse 13, 14, and 16 through 17. Verse 3.
Beautiful. So,
yeah.
Real quick. So, brother, that means you agree 14 is about another son before Jesus Christ. Yes or no?
No, it's about Jesus Christ, and 16 and 17 are about.
No, you said it was
Shir
two
Joshua.
sons. You said it was two sons, brother.
So let me tell you what two sons it is. One is Jesus, and the other is Shir Joshua. That's what I said.
Right. So I know that. I heard you. So that means you agree 14 is about two sons, one before Jesus and Jesus. Is that correct?
No. I believe
You
that.
just said it's about two sons.
I didn't. Can I tell you what I said? Let me tell you.
This is it is right there, brother.
You're gonna run. You're gonna let me respond to you.
I'm right here.
Okay, so let me tell you what I said then. I said the context is about two sons, and I told you which verses: 3, 14, 16, and 17. Because as I said even in the beginning, 16 and 17 is about one son, Shir Joshua, and 14, 15, 13 are about another son being Jesus. So I'm not saying verse 14 is about two sons. I'm saying verse 14 is about one son, Jesus. The context of Isaiah 7 from verse 13 through to 17 refers to two sons. One being Shir Joshua.
You said 16. You said 16 is about Shir Joshua?
Yeah, 16b through to 17. 60, all of 16.
Is 16 a continuation of 14 and 15? Yes or no?
It's in the context, but it's referring to a different son because.
Can we read it from 14, please?
Yeah, no problem. Therefore, the Lord Himself will give you Therefore, the Lord Himself will give you, plural, a sign. See, the virgin will conceive, have a son, and name him Emmanuel. Emmanuel, God with us. By the time he learns to reject what is bad and choose what is good, he'll be eating curds and honey. For before...
Can we stop right there? Can we stop right there? Just let's go slow.
Mm-hmm.
Could you scroll up? It cut off from my screen.
Here you go.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, sorry.
I can't see it now.
Here.
Sorry. 15, right? Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. 15. By the time he learns to reject. Okay, is that the same he from verse 14?
It's referring to the son to be born in verse 14, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And then 16. For before the boy knows to reject what is bad, is that the same continuation of verse 15?
It's in the same context, but it's not the same boy. It's just another child. Does that make sense?
There you go. You can't. Sorry, brother. I can't accept that answer. No, I can't accept that answer.
I know you
that.
can't accept.
This is why I said with context.
I know you can't.
Let me respond.
Hold up.
Well, let me
I'm not even done.
Let me respond at least.
I'm not done though. You asked me a question.
Oh, he's quick to mute me.
I didn't even mute you. Did I mute you? So yeah, I didn't even.
Can I didn't.
Yeah. You asked me a question, right? So I'm going to respond to your question. Yeah, so verse 16 is in the same context, meaning it's on similar topic that God will preserve the house of David and he'll preserve Ahaz's kingdom. But it's referencing a different boy, because even in verse 16, this word used here, as you see here, look, we just used the Bible. Nar, look at the word. Let it load in right quick. It's translated, a boy, a lad, okay, here. A boy, a lad, a toddler, a babe, so one who's born already. But the verse 14 already said that the virgin is conceiving and having a son, meaning the virgin did not have this son yet, because if no virgin had a son, and I'm still saying my point. You could disagree all you want, but no virgin, no one who hadn't had intercourse had a son. So this child wouldn't be conceived, meaning this boy who's found here would be someone that is conceived, which is Shir Jashub, and he'll be the one.
The boy from 16?
Yeah, 16 and 17. And also the reason why I'm saying 16,
what does that last part mean there? Sorry, I thought you were done.
And also the reason I'm saying 16 and 17 are different, 16 and 17 are a different boy, is because it's addressing a different person. It's addressing Ahaz specifically now, about his kingdom versus the entire house of David, which involves his kingdom and the future as well. Go ahead.
Okay, so can you go back to verse 16?
It's right in front. It's right here.
Zoom into it. Yeah, the same boy for verse 16. It says, "For before the boy knows to reject what is bad, who you're saying is Jesus, the land of the two kings you dread will be abandoned." Who are those two kings?
Rezin and Pekah. I said that even from the beginning, brother.
Was that during the time of Jesus Christ?
This boy, during the time of this boy, which is Shir Jashub, yes.
You said that boy was Jesus Christ.
No, I said you didn't hear me. I said verse 16.
No,
you're not. I could replay this whole conversation for you if you don't believe me. Like this is live.
I was tracking very closely.
Well then, brother, you didn't track hard enough, because I could really play this whole conversation back.
Okay, all right.
If you don't believe me,
maybe you're right. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're right. Let's go back to 14.
No. I will go back to 14, but let me tell you what I'm saying.
Okay.
So you don't misrepresent me. I said this from the beginning.
Okay.
It's a split prophecy. So from 16 to 17, it's about Shir Jashub, because it mentions a boy who's a toddler who's been born, or a babe, one who has been born, and is referring to the singular you, referring to Ahaz. 13 through 15 are referring to the house of David with the plural you, and talking about a virgin who will conceive, which cannot refer to Shir Jashub, but refers to another son who will be born later for the house of David, which is Jesus. So when I read verse 16 to you, I'm saying that this event, where the land of the two kings will be abandoned, Rezin and Pekah, this happened in the time of this boy being Shir Jashub. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's back up to 14.
Here you go.
In 13, when he said, listen, O house of David, it is not it's gone. Listen, O house of David, it is not enough for you to try the patience of men. Will you also try the patience of my God? Who is he talking to right there?
The whole house of David, not just Ahaz, but the entire house he's addressing.
Right. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Is this the same sign that Ahaz rejected to hear? Yes or no?
No, this is a sign now for the whole house.
Yeah.
He didn't give Ahaz. He gave Ahaz the sign he rejected later. This is a sign for the whole house. Like,
Yeah, no, it's
it,
definitely a lot of adding
nah,
interpretations into it. It's the same context, brother.
nah.
It's
Can you show me a single time where virgin is used in his
I've
in his
already,
direct? You
yeah,
didn't.
I've
No,
already,
no, no,
yeah,
no, no.
I get it. You're gonna harp on the word etymology when
Yeah,
I'm giving you
no,
context. I understand.
I'm not harping on that. I'm saying that the word has a specific definition, which cannot be changed. So I gave you evidence to show that when the word is directly telling us who it's speaking about a virgin who has never had intercourse. You're saying that 7:14 is speaking about a virgin who has had intercourse. So can you show that from anywhere? Where does it say that? Because I'm showing you that understanding this word correctly would eliminate this from being Hezekiah, any natural son, born son. So you have to show me that this word can mean one who's had intercourse. Can you show me that? That's what I'm asking. Can you show me this word means one who has had intercourse? Can you show me that, brother? I heard a few definitions. I gave you the text. Can you show that? Go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, brother, to answer you directly and then to get back to what I was saying, and I don't mean to make this a debate. I know you don't want to debate tonight, but I just wanted to ask. Like I said, the word is ambiguous, and I believe with some of the verses you pulled up, it can be respectfully and rightfully insinuated that they were not actual virgins, like in the Song of Solomon passage. Now, going back to Isaiah 7, the fact that you said that verse 14 was a totally different sign would go against the context of verses 5 through 8. Can we read that quickly?
Yeah, let's read it. But before I read it, because you're saying it goes against it, no, it does not. Because I'm going to ask you again, do you agree that he is addressing a different group now? He's still addressing Ahaz. I'm not saying he's not addressing Ahaz.
No,
but do you agree that
it's the same situation?
So you believe that when he was addressing Ahaz's kingdom up here, that he was addressing the entire house of David, future and present and future?
What do you mean present, past, and future? What do you mean?
Yeah, because when you're talking about the house of David, it refers to that light that God told David that he would keep. So if you're addressing the house of David, you're saying you'll never let that.
Where does it say that here? I'm saying.
No, it's just from the context of the prophets. That when you see house of David,
where does it say it from this context?
Even it's implied in the context. I'm pointing out to you that.
Okay, so it's not there, correct?
It is. It's implied in the context. You believe things can be
implied.
No,
it's implied. Right? You've.
If something's implied in context, no, something's implied in the context. That means it's in the context, right?
There's nothing in the context that talks about a light to future generations. It's about the immediate threat.
Who's the house of David?
Hold on, real quick. It's about the immediate threat of Assyria and Israel coming against Judah. That's why he then goes on to speak to Judah.
They didn't say, sir, who's this house of David?
I'm almost done, brother.
Sir, so you're moving away from my main question. Who's this house of David?
I'm not. I'm answering you.
So give me.
That's what I was literally answering.
I want a direct answer. Just who's this house of David?
The house of David is the kingdom of Judah. So that's what I'm saying. Right. This threat is not this. Real quick, the threat was not Assyria and Israel saying, "Hey, Ahaz, we're coming to kill you directly." No, the threat was, if you read it, they were coming to besiege Jerusalem, to overthrow the kingdom of Judah. That's why the leader of the kingdom of Judah, Ahaz, when he rejects the sign, the Lord says, "No problem. I'm going to give you the sign myself, O house of Judah," because that's who's being threatened, not just Ahaz. So that your interpretation of you see it split would be stripped of the context of what is going on, and I'm trying to show you 14 is the same sign as verses 15 and 16 that this child is supposed to show.
Yeah, so I never said that they're coming to just unalive Ahaz. I never said that. I'm not implying that makes no sense. I agree. But I agree that it's referring to Ahaz because it's talking about his current kingdom. The reason I'm saying that it switches the speaker is because he addresses now the house of David. And when he addresses them, he uses the plural you. But when he addresses Ahaz directly, he uses the singular you. So let me ask you, if it was always referring to the same sign and it was always referring to the whole house of David, why does God switch why does he switch the tense in which he uses the word you here? Why does he switch it if he's referring to the entire house of David the whole time with the same sign? What reason would there be to switch the tense? Can you tell me?
Right. And I answered this because he's speaking to Ahaz, who was the king of the house of Judah. He says, "I won't do it. I'm not going to ask the sign." The threat of what the sign is for the whole kingdom of Judah, not just Ahaz and not kingdom of Judah separate from Ahaz. It's for all of them. So now, yes, I have no problem with you saying that the words in the grammatical sense are different, plural and singular. That is not my contention.
No,
The
I'm
fact
gonna
that
cut you
he
off.
then
I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you off. The reason is you're not understanding my question. You don't understand my question.
okay. That's okay.
I'm being directly. You
Okay,
did not
all
understand
right.
my question, so I'm gonna repeat it.
I heard you directly and I answered you.
I
I
know
said
you
he's
heard me.
speaking to the house of.
I know you heard me. I
He's
could hear
speaking
you.
to the house of.
Brother, pause.
He's
Please.
speaking to the house of David.
Brother, I'm gonna mute you. You can see I'm muting you. Pause. I know you hear me. I'm saying you didn't understand my question. I already agreed that when it refers to Ahaz, it's referring to the house of Judah, the kingdom of Judah. So I know that when it refers to Ahaz, it's referring to the kingdom of Judah. My question specifically was, you are saying that this entire prophecy is referring to the kingdom of Judah specifically. So my question is, if that is the case, why does God in speaking switch from the plural used for you to the singular if when he refers to the house of or the kingdom of Judah already, he just used the singular? What reason would there be for him to switch to the plural word for you if he's referring to the same group, the same kingdom of Judah, ruled by Ahaz in this time throughout the entire context? That's my question. What reason would there be to switch from plural to singular if when he used singular, he was still referring to the kingdom of Judah that was ruled by Ahaz? Give me that reason. That's what I'm asking. Go ahead. Let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe I already answered that. And also, again, harping on the Hebrew, again, there's plenty times where the Hebrew
Brother,
singular is used for.
You can see I'm hanging up. I know, I'm hanging up. Don't join back. You're respectful, which I appreciate, but you did not answer me. And we've been on this topic a long time. Oops. Yeah, we've been on this topic a long time, so I'm not going to stay repeating myself. You couldn't show me that virgin can be used for one who has had intercourse. All examples where we see an actual virgin, like an actual person that we know, when the word is used, it's referring to one who hasn't had intercourse. That's what the word means. One who is a virgin hasn't had intercourse. And also, you saw the word, you saw that it's using plural and singular. It wouldn't make any sense to switch from the plural and the singular if when it uses the singular, it's already referring to a plural group. What would make sense if it's switching from plural to singular, because singular is used for Ahaz's kingdom, while plural is used for the whole house of David, which refers to the one present and future, because he's giving them a sign of something in the future, which will be a virgin, one who hasn't had intercourse, having a son who is God with us. Also, if you use the context of Isaiah, it talks about a future Messiah being born who is God. Isaiah chapter 9. So you're respectful, but brother, nah. All right, there's 6 requests. I think none of these people are here, so I'm just gonna mass. Okay, 1 second, Kfir. I'm just gonna plug in my headphones, and then I'll get to your question right away. One sec. Let me plug these in, man. One sec. Plug those in. Okay, pull this up. Make sure I can hear you. Okay, Kfir, how's it going, sir? Happy Mother's Day to your mom.
How are you, my brother?
I'm doing good.
What?
How are you?
Good. Let me ask a question, because Hebrew is my mother tongue. The word they use in Hebrew is almah.
Yep.
The word in Hebrew for virgin is betula.
Nope.
It's a completely different word.
Betula is one word used in Hebrew, but there's another word which is almah. Almah could also refer to a virgin. So betula is one.
Are you going to teach me my language? Almah in Hebrew is a young woman. Mm-hmm. She can be married, and actually what the Christian did, they took this word out of context. Nope. Because Isaiah speak about his own wife, that she was pregnant with a son. Nothing related to JC. Nothing. It's almah. It's a young woman. She can be married.
Yeah.
She's not a virgin.
So
virgin is betula. Betula is very specific.
So I'm guessing you're a Jew, right? Are you a Jew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Exactly like you did this.
when we
And
so
yeah, go ahead.
when we speak about how a word is used, we are referencing when we're talking about the scriptures, we're referencing how the word is used within the Bible, right? Because we're talking about the scriptures. For example, if you're a Hebrew speaker, you'd agree that a word can be used in the Bible differently than how it's used in colloquial regular language. Does that make sense?
Alma is never a betula. Betula is very specific.
Please no answer
Yeah.
what I said. I said you as a Hebrew
Yeah.
speaker, you agree that a word can be used in the Bible or in the Torah. You follow the Torah. So in the Tanakh, you believe a word can be used differently in the Tanakh than how it's used in colloquial language, right?
No, not really, because
Of
it's
course.
very definite. Because one is one, is not three. And there's a very specific the definition of virgin is betula. There is not like two words for that.
So the word Elohim in colloquial language, it just means any supreme being, right?
No, you're not correct, because God had 70 different names.
What? No. Listen,
And some of the names actually describing his.
Sir, you're not answering my question. I didn't ask about any 70s. I'm asking about the word Elohim.
Okay, what's the question?
Yeah, Elohim. The word Elohim. In colloquial language, like in regular Hebrew.
What is the question?
Yeah, my question is the word Elohim, when it's used, it can be used to refer to any supreme, just a supreme being, right? Or any divine agent or divine person, right? Or any person of just anybody who has any level of power, right?
No. It's speaking only about God. Elohim is God.
So you believe
It
that
doesn't actually.
So you believe that every time we see Elohim used in the Bible, it's referring to Hashem?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So you're wrong. I'll show you why. I'm gonna go to the Bible. We're gonna see where the word Elohim is used, and we're gonna see if it refers to Hashem. Okay. Thank you, the thing.
He says in the Ten Commandments, you will not have another Elohim on top of myself. So
could you read verse 1?
people can claim that another.
Could you read verse 1 of Exodus 7?
What?
I have on the screen Exodus chapter 7. Could you read verse 1 for me, sir?
Without my glasses, could you be kind and read it for me, please? I trust you.
Okay. It says here, Hashem answered Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother will be your prophet." And in the Hebrew, this is the Hebrew text on the right side if you want to read Hebrew. It says, "Then said Hashem to Moses."
I read in Hebrew.
Okay. You could see it? You could see it?
Yeah. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, אמר אדוני אל, משה ראה נתתיך, I'll give you. Yeah, can you continue? Yeah, ראה נתן, can you put it up a little bit? I can continue reading. Okay, a little bit down, please. I just want to see the context. Okay, can you go back a little bit? Go back. Okay. Well, okay, okay, נתתיך לפרעה. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so what's your point? You said that you will come to Pharaoh with me. I will be with you when you go to Pharaoh.
Does it? No, it says here, I make you. You really, this word means make, right?
נתתיך, no. נתתיך will be, I will give you.
Okay.
נתתיך, I will give you.
I will give? Okay, let me look at definitions now, because I don't think I could trust you with your definition.
נתתיך is to give.
Okay. Give, put, set. All right, beautiful. So let's read it. It says, I'll set. Can we use different words? Okay, let's read it. Moses, see, I set you, I give you, God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother shall be your prophet. So if you're saying I gave you, then how does he give him God? What does this mean?
No, this says, he said, I will follow you, I go together with you to Pharaoh.
Where does it say?
You will not be alone.
What does it say?
You will be with me, you will be with me, and you will be with Aaron, your brother.
Does this word mean follow? Or does this word mean give, as you said, or make, or set up? Is follow a definition of this word, sir?
Neticha, give you.
I give, right?
I just want to read let me read all those sentences, okay? 1 second. Can you give me again the verse, the full verse?
Okay,
chapter and the
you want like
this is the
sorry, so you want like just Hebrew? All right,
yeah, please.
one
Thank
sec.
you.
I'll put up just Hebrew for you. Okay, one sec. One sec. Okay.
And after that, we're going to speak about the prophecy about Isaiah 2 and 11. I show you that the prophecy of Mashiach will never fulfilled by Jesse. Okay.
Sure. Why is this not loading? Okay, one sec. I gotta pull this up. It's not loading for some reason.
Give me the verse. I'm just going to read it.
Yeah.
Going to to the screen.
Yeah,
The verse is.
I got you. I'm just pulling it up for you. Okay, one second. It's Exodus 7, and I'm gonna get it in WLC. Okay, beautiful. I'm chasing. Okay, let me make it a little smaller.
It's good. It's good because I without my glasses. So
Okay. One second. I'll make it back. I'll put it back.
Can you enlarge it a little bit? Thank you.
All right. This is verse 1.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה ראה אחיך אלוהים לפרעה ואהרון אחיך יהיה נביא לך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה ראה אחיך אלוהים לפרעה ואהרון אחיך יהיה נביא לך. Okay, let me guys just go one second to the scripture. 1 second.
All right, man. I mean, I showed you the Hebrew. It's clearly saying, "I'll make you God to Pharaoh." Says it also in verse 4. If you don't believe me, verse 4, chapter 4. Sorry, says the same thing. That I'll make you God to Pharaoh. Because
okay, my brother, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I went to the interpretation of that. It said, God say, you will come to Pharaoh with my authority. So the Hebrew translation say that, according to English, say, God say, let me just finish, my brother.
No, I
will come
I hear you.
You will come with the authority of God. So you will be appointed as a messenger by my name.
A messenger.
So you see, Elohim,
a messenger.
You will
God,
come
right?
to Pharaoh. You will come to Pharaoh with my authority, but not as a God.
Sir,
you will come as a divine,
if he
messenger. That's what it means.
If he comes by his authority, and the text is saying, "I will set you up as God," that means God is calling Moses a God to Pharaoh.
I will set you up.
Okay. Actually, pause. Let me pause. Let me ask you this: is the text saying that he will make Aaron his prophet? Does it say that?
No.
So Aaron will not be Moses' prophet?
He said you will come.
All right.
You will
get out of here. Like, it doesn't matter if you speak Hebrew naturally. If you're dishonest, you'll stay dishonest. You could speak Greek naturally. If you're dishonest, you'll stay dishonest. You could speak Hebrew naturally. If you're dishonest, you'll stay dishonest. I could see it right there. Text literally says, "I will give Aaron your prophet. I'll give Aaron to be your prophet. Aaron will be your prophet." You can pull up the Hebrew side by side. Text says here, "And Aaron your brother shall be your prophet." So if Aaron's called the prophet of Moses, that means Moses is being called God to Pharaoh. Meaning this is a case where Elohim is used for someone who's not Hashem. So what I'm saying is that words in the biblical language is how we're understanding. So almah in the biblical usage, in the Tanakh usage, only refers to one who has not had intercourse. Every example we could clearly see of almah being used for someone that it explains or gives more detail on, it's talking about someone who has not had intercourse. That's why every time you see a definition of an almah, it mentions young woman, virgin, because every almah is a virgin. Every virgin is a young woman. They're two, they go together, they go hand in hand. There is no place in almah where it can be said to be used of someone who has intercourse. But there are places where almah is used where it could be said to be used of one who has not had intercourse, because the word almah means virgin. Anybody else have any questions? It's 9:54. So if there are no questions, I'm very willing to wrap up. But anybody on TikTok got any questions? Anyone on YouTube got questions remaining to ask? Any of y'all on TikTok have questions? I'm willing to let up one more guest if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask. If not, then I'm ready to wrap it up for the night and get going. Mm-hmm. Ready to wrap it up and get going. Those on TikTok, any Christian, just ask a Christian. If you're a Christian, non-Christian, doesn't matter. If you have any question you'd like to ask about Christianity, the faith, the Bible, whatever question you have that you want to ask, you can click one of these buttons here and you could ask away. So to anyone on TikTok or YouTube, if you do have a question, you have every right to ask it. What in the chat or someone in the chat earlier asked what translation I would recommend. I use the Christian Standard Bible, so that's the translation I would always recommend because it's very easy to read and it's also understandable and it's still accurate. It's called optimal equivalent, so it's accurate. But yeah, that's the translation I use. Your job is not to convert them; it's rightly divide the word of truth and your reason for faith. You're 100% right, Mr. Trend Tracker. Conversion is God's work. My work is to plant the seed and to spread the gospel. So you're 100% right. Doesn't seem like we got any remaining guests, so I'm going to end on TikTok. God bless you all on TikTok. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Stay blessed, get good rest, all the best, and at the end of the day, let God take care of the rest. Bible Lover 1234 on TikTok. I am. Oh wait. One more chance. Anyone have any questions you wish to ask? I'm gonna wait for 1 minute. 1 minute. And if there are no questions being asked in 1 minute, then I will end on TikTok. If anyone on TikTok got questions they want to ask about the Bible, Christianity, theology, the Trinity, whatever question you have, could ask away. If not, done for the night. Alright, it's 9:57. I don't see anyone asking questions. So I'm going to close out. God bless you all. No, I'm not Reformed. I am Protestant, but I'm not Reformed. I think I'll close out, y'all. So God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. Stay blessed. Get good rest. All the best. And at the end of the day, let God take care of the rest. Bible Lover 1234. Out. Alright, YouTube. What's happening, YouTube? What's happening, YouTube? Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that live stream. To those who might have any questions on the interpretation I gave of Isaiah 7. Firstly, if you believe that Isaiah 7 fully refers to the son being born, I have no problem with that. For example, even if you read verse 15 to 16, verse 16 to 17 about Jesus, it would still make sense because before Jesus was born, Rezin and Pekah were gone. But where I get this interpretation from that I gave him was I get from two places. I'll put them in the chat. I sent it in the chat there as well. This is firstly is a commentary from Bible Hub. It's called Benson Commentaries. This is the one I read regularly. Benson Commentaries is the commentator I read regularly while I do my studying. This commentary is really good for learning the Bible. So if you want to learn the interpretation I use, where I get my interpretations, how I understand, you could use this commentary. Let me unpin this link because I am done for the night. Pin message. Yeah. Also, I also got this interpretation from Sam Shimon in his old articles on answering Islam. Let me see. Should have it here. If I don't, I'll add it. Let me see if I got it. I should have it. Isaiah 7:14. Yes. I'll paste this article too. This article is a Sam Shimon article where he goes over Isaiah 7:14 and how it is referring to two sons. Verse 13 through to 15, Jesus, 16 through to 17, Shir Jashub. Because he's responding to points brought up by Shabir Ali in a debate, I believe. So we can go over this article that Sam has here. This is the article, and this is what Sam says regarding, yeah. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? I think it's this one. Okay, this one. He says here, Shabir objects to the messianic. You should challenge Itachi. I've challenged Itachi before actually, but when I spoke to her, Kira, she brought up the Muslim apologetic, and I essentially had to talk to the Muslim apologetic on her platform. I didn't expect for that to happen, but it is what it is. So that conversation resulted in this video. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah. Yeah, that conversation I had with the Muslim apologetic resulted in this video. Let me pull that right quick. Alright. You guys see this video right here? The Muslim apologetics uses atheist tactics to disprove, to attack Isaiah's prophecy. She brought him up on that live. I was on her live and she brought him up. So I have tried to speak to her, but she brought him up. I could try to join her panel again, but these people don't join our panels. Like, you guys have to understand. I like being on the offense. Obviously, I've been to Orthodox Muslim panel 3 times now. I spoke to TMA twice. He came on my panel 1 time, which is good. I went to Itachi's panel and he spoke there. And like, I have no problem. Like, I have no problem joining his panel one day. I've joined Korah's panel multiple times. I've joined Orthodox Muslim multiple, but like, these people don't come to us. So it's unfair. It's like they want to stay on their echo chamber where they can mute you. Like, you guys saw, Orthodox Muslim kept muting me, kept insulting me. They want to stay in their echo chamber. They don't want to come out of that, right? So I have no problem challenging her, going up there, but they should also come to ours as well. So I'm not set on going in to challenge them. I'm not set on going there, but I wouldn't object to it. So that's her. And yeah. So back to what I was saying. The interpretation I get of Isaiah 7:14 comes from this article from Sam Shimoon, which is an old one. Yeah, exactly, Takashi. So Sam says here, Shabir Ali objects to the messianic application of this passage since it was meant as a sign for King Ahaz. Hence, the passage states that before the virgin's child will be old enough to choose good and refuse evil, Syria and the northern kingdom would lose their kings, and Assyria would attack Judah. This all took place in the 8th century BC. In reply to Shabir's assertion, we must state that the context includes all of Isaiah 7, a point that Shabir himself noted. When we take into consideration the entire context of Isaiah, we discover that the sign of verse 14 was for the entire house of David, which is what I was telling the guest the whole time. Since the term for you in verses 13 and 14 is the plural, yet the sign for King Ahaz in verse 11 and 16 for the 17 was for him only, because it's for his kingdom, since you is singular in these passages. That's what I was showing the guest. See? Down here, therefore, Ahaz's sign was that before the child, nar, meaning a toddler, that's the word used for boy. What sounds of reference there is in Isaiah 7:14. It said in verse 16, before the boy knows to reject what is good and bad. This word boy refers to a toddler, which is what's said. Nar, meaning a toddler, never a baby, should know how to choose good, refusing evil. The events of verse 16b to 17 wouldn't transpire. This child was Isaiah's son, so it can't refer to a baby being born, verse 14, because that word means toddler. It refers to a toddler, or one who's young. This child was Isaiah's son, Shir Jashub, who was with the prophet at the time, and at whom Isaiah directed the sign. Yet, the son of verse 14 would be a sign to come for all of David's descendants. What I was saying, all of David's descendants would have that sign because it exactly directs it to the plural you, which is the house of David. That's what I was telling him. There's no reason for God to use singular and plural for you if he's referring to the same group, which would be the kingdom of Ahaz when he refers to Ahaz. What would make sense is if he's using singular and plural because he's referring to two different groups. One group is Ahaz's kingdom, that's why he says Ahaz and uses the singular, and another group is the whole house of David, present and future, all of David's descendants, and thus he uses plural for that group. That's the point I was making. It says in here, Sam writes, would be a sign to come for all David's descendants, since he would be the long-awaited Messiah, who was born approximately 700 years later to the young virgin maiden Mary. You guys see that? And it says here, furthermore, rabbinic interpretation applied Isaiah 7 to messianic times. It writes here, where's the land of Canaan? Yeah. Abraham ran into the herd are parallel of Isaiah 7:21, which is most significantly here applied to messianic times. In this Alfred Edersheim, The Life and Times of Jesus the Messiah, writing there. The point that sticks out from the preceding quotation is the constant reapplication of OT passages to messianic times. Hence, Matthew is being fairly Jewish in his application of Isaiah 7:14 to the Messiah, seeing that this is precisely what the rabbis did with Isaiah 7:21. So even rabbis connect Isaiah 7:21 to messianic time. This is what Sam is writing here. And he has the sources here. Alfred Edersheim, The Life and Times of Jesus the Messiah, blah, blah, blah. So Isaiah 7 verse 13 through 17 is a split prophecy. One, it refers to the house of David, past and future, to all David's descendants, that God will preserve that line through the son who will be born to a virgin, one who hasn't had intercourse, being Mary, and producing the son Jesus. And verse 16 and 17 refer to Shir Jashub, who will be the present son who will show Ahaz that God will not let his kingdom be taken away, because before he knows to reject bad and choose what is good, Rezin and Pekah, the kings of Israel and Syria, will be eliminated, will be removed. So that's what I was saying about Isaiah 7. But I think I'm done. Yeah, Lady Logic cooked them. I was watching that. Cora was mad. Cora did not want to let anybody else speak. Cora's upset because she was cooking them. They were getting a belt. Like, respectfully, they were getting straight belt. They were getting a straight belt. Cora was what's her name? Christina was cooking. She was straight cooking them all that time. Cora was fuming. You could tell. She didn't want the other Muslim woman to speak, because when the Muslim woman spoke, they were not happy. She was not happy at all. that was funny. All right, y'all. I think I'm done for the night. Thank you guys for joining. About 2-hour stream, so that's good. We'll make clips of this, and then whatever. We'll have nice conversations and stuff. Join me tomorrow at 7:30. Peace, brother. I was removed. Can I come back on tomorrow? Righteous Street Runners. Didn't mean for it to be confrontational. Hey, man, a Q&A can get to a debate format. I don't have a problem with that. We just go back and forth. Yeah, no problem. Righteous Street Runners, you can come back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be live debating tomorrow, but I will be live tomorrow. I might do a debate. I might continue with the debate review I was doing tomorrow, with Captain Tazariak and Logic. However, the link will be posted. So if you do want to come up and discuss while I'm reviewing, that is fine as well. So yes, I will be live tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So same time I went live today, 7:30 p.m. EST. So you guys can join me tomorrow, 7:30 EST, and we can talk on either the topic. Probably will be Jesus is the Messiah, maybe, or Jesus is God Almighty. Whatever topic I choose, we'll see. Regardless, stay blessed to you all. Get good rest. All the best. And at the end of the day, let God take care of the rest. Bible lover 1, 2, 3, 4.
Celebrating Jesus tonight. We sing praises. We sing praises to our King, for He is the King of Kings. We sing praises to our King, for He is the King. Everybody say Jesus tonight.